Hello and welcome back to Pact of the GM, a collection of unlovable misfits who have all sworn their soul to me, the GM. Now, I am proud to say we have an almost entirely full house this week. We are back to our regularly scheduled number of players. Welcome back, Jared. Welcome back, Jensen. Don't say anything right now because you'll interrupt me. We are still missing one other person, though. This person that we keep hoping to get. Mr. Travis Willingham. He is still yet to appear, though this week we may have a fair excuse. I heard that apparently he helped a prince flee a war-torn country just only last week by providing his bank account details to an anonymous email. However, he also now says he can't afford to get a flight over to the UK, so hopefully he'll be able to recoup some of the money we think he may have lost, but in the meantime, we shall power on without him. We will try to survive. Before we do that, though, let's take a look backwards before we go forwards. And this week, Keth is going to be giving us a rundown on what happened in the last episode. So, Keth, over to you. I just realised, Keth, I'm going to interrupt you there. No, I am, because the messing around with my audio has totally screwed up everything. However, I think it's a simple fix. We go to... Apologies for this. I had some technical issues before joining and I had to hack Razor. But I fixed it.
Got on 2 minutes before stream started. So,
absolutely, but I've just fixed it even there, so apologies, Kath. Back to you.
Okay, so last time, and yes, I still hate you, Alex, we got hired to deal with some criminals, but we figured out we didn't really want to fight these people, so we went to talk to them instead. And tried to kind of climb over the wall. Didn't really work. Pretended that we were knocking even as one of us was hanging from the gates, but that's fine. After a bit of hostile conversation, we figured out they're not really criminals at all. They just want to live their life and get by, and this was all some old feud from before they were born. So we convinced them, after some lucky dice rolls, to come with us to Farrick in search for a better life. So, they went to get ready to get on the boat, and Geronimo went to talk with the person that had hired us, where he said we'd killed them and then stole half of the money. Then we left towards Farrick, and that's the biggest city we've been to so far. We did some light information gathering around the tavern, and that's where we left it off.
Yeah, a pretty succinct account of everything you did. Obviously, Jared and Jensen will have to kind of pick up some of the more minutiae details as we go along, but there wasn't a huge amount. In said tavern, you guys managed to discern an individual who you believe to be the headsman of Storia, who you met before, Argo, had apparently arrived not too long ago and recruited a band of gnolls for nefarious means, you believe, though no real idea as to what he might intend to do with them has yet been established. No matter, you have got a direction, you've got a rough description, and you've also been informed that people have been disappearing and being abducted, and that, this bald, almost hairless, obese man might be the cause. So we will jump straight back into it, exactly where we left off. Actually at the Rudder House, a fairly open building that looks almost like an overturned ship, with kind of the side cut out to create this open plan tavern space for drinking and eating. The group has just finished sort of colluding with the owner of the tavern, a rather dark-looking dragonborn with these bronzish scales, and have returned to this corner table. No seats abound. The group was unable to get any with how busy the place is, but to Brannon, having just kind of given up filling out all of the paperwork in triplicate that was expected of him, the drinks freshly arrived, and the patrons mostly just ignoring you as strangers. What would you all like to do?
Would Geronimo notice? Actually, no. Durgus is back. Wait, are we all together? Because I know.
Yeah. The assumption would be that you were all together throughout all of this. It just so happened that Baron and Durgus were a little bit not on their best.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, Geronimo's gonna kind of look to the others. He's gonna eye up Durgus first of all, and hey, hey, Bigsy, you finished that captain's application that you had to do?
Yes. He'd say, clearly thinking for a few moments as to what the hell this captain application was.
Durgus might recall when they arrived in Farrick, the kind of dockmaster for the area in which they sidled up to had come in and basically handed over a huge wad of paperwork to do with them basically being allowed to come and go as they please at Farrick because they didn't have any of the licenses or the privileges that were required to do basically anything. In addition to this, because they admitted to the vessel being like kind of a fresh purchase, it was expected that a captain's license was necessary. And although he had been masquerading as the captain prior to this revelation, Geronimo had decided to relinquish said position in lieu of allowing Durgus instead to take the big wad of paperwork to sign up to actually become the captain of the ship in Farrick.
Okay. Well, with that information dump, Durgus is then going to reach to his backpack and pull forwards the wad of paper, which you could probably tell was a little bit creased, a little bit folded in areas. He clearly hadn't taken very good care of it. And just looking at the first page, it's clear he hadn't actually signed or done anything. So, do I actually need to fill this out, or can we just ignore it?
Well, you have to fill it out. If you leave it be, then I believe they said we weren't allowed back on our ship. Or at least not allowed to sail away.
Oh, and what do they have to stop us?
Did you not see the fortifications?
Well, I mean, we could trade some evasive maneuvers, but I'm not really that good just yet. I guess I'll have to sort it, but I mean, we've got, that bloody Headsman to go chase after. Can we do this later?
Yeah, I didn't expect for us to do it now. I just thought, you had some time as we were walking around. I mean, Hatsy's been really proficient.
Well, we have 3 days to finish it. That's the thing. And I was trying to get it done now so we could go off and sort our problems without being chased up by anything here.
Well, he'd then pause for a moment, trying to think if the gang had asked after Aurelio's spine while they were here.
They had not.
Okay. Right, well, look, he sort of peers over towards, just me trying to remember his name, because I get the two confused all the fucking time. Brannon. Hatsy. Look, well, if you could stay with me and we could fill this thing out, maybe the others could go and ask around after Aurelio. I mean, yeah, I know we got our priorities, but I don't really want to, stay aged and cursed whatever forever.
Brannon just looks disheveled and just puts his head in his hand and goes, please don't give me another one. I've already got 10 to do.
10 of what?
Brannon takes out his own mound of paper that is probably considerably larger than yours.
Yes, Brandon has 3 documents to fill out as opposed to your one, which he needs to do in triplicate. You have one form that you need to do in duplicate.
God.
Imagine doing paperwork roleplay.
How did he actually acquire this? Or has he just been carrying it around the entire time?
The paperwork? No. The paperwork was provided to you as you arrived. The essentially the guy that was running the harbour approached and started pulling it out of this large kind of binder that was full of just blank copies of this paper. One set of each. You needed to have your own parchment to come up with the copies. So yeah, you're expected to provide one piece of parchment and then duplicate the one copy you were given.
Bloody
maths.
Byzantine bureaucracy, never mind Farrick bureaucracy, my god. Yeah, no, obviously seeing this massive wad of paper sort of just thrown down, Durgus' eyes go wide. He goes, can't you just burn it?
Trust me, I would like to do nothing more, but it's a case of I do it and everything's fine, or I don't do it and next time we try and leave, someone starts shooting at us.
Just a thought. Is it a good idea to mark it down with our actual names? With Reginald likely tailing us, I think we should probably leave as little tracks as we can.
That's actually not a bad point. Have I actually I have used any names in the document so far? Obviously, we haven't really gone over it.
Yeah, name is normally one of the first things that would have gone down there. So unless you, like, I'm gonna, because you didn't specify, I'll let you decide whether you have filled in the names yet or not.
I mean, arguably, I would have done that first.
Okay, then in which case that's what you would have done first.
I could probably get away with scratching that out or maybe changing it a bit, but it's only my name, so I suppose it's not too bad.
Well, I mean, he doesn't know all our names, does he? We could just put our names in normally, then Geronimo would just make up a fake one.
We'll just put down Toast or something else.
Well, he probably knows Toast because that's what he bloody introduced himself as all the time. Maybe a what's your surname, Geronimo?
He'd probably know that as well. That it's pretty commonplace in Cogwheel.
Have you got any lesser-known nicknames that you don't normally go by?
Well, hey, I could think up a one on the spot. And Johnny's gonna tap his chin as he thinks of a nickname. Yeah, so we're in Farrick, and I'm a gnome. Garrick, yeah, that's a good one. And he kind of clicks his fingers towards Bigsy. Durgus.
Garrick. Okay.
Perfect.
Wait, well, I don't think we'll need a surname. I think they should just do fine.
So you can call me Garrickson.
Hey, son of Garrick. He says, sort of nodding along, like, yeah, that's a good idea. Before peering over towards Brannon. Well, maybe if we stay and fill these out for a little bit, then the others ask after the Sorello, then, well, hopefully it shouldn't take too long. I mean, it's just paper.
Yes, I've got most of the supplies with me. I don't have a chair, though. It seems a bit packed in here.
Geronimo's going to look around to see if anyone might have perchance moved during their conversation.
Lots of people are moving, but no one is relinquishing a seat.
Oh, okay. Hey,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, Goggles, do you think you could turn into that little rat again and maybe go scare some of the more scared type people?
Scare him? What for?
Nobody likes rats in the establishments where they eat and drink.
They could stomp on me.
Yeah, but you're so strong and powerful.
Not as a rat, I ain't.
Yeah, but maybe
Why
if you're
do you
fast.
want to scare him?
I've got an idea. Baron would kind of just put his belongings to the floor, then taking off his big, heavy coat and kind of just roughly piling it on top, like against a wall. Just sit on that for now.
Okay, well, I suppose that'll do. But yes, why don't we get on? Then I've got to run off to the shops.
Well, admittedly, I prefer a table as well.
Oh, we've got a table. That's fine. Just doesn't have any chairs.
Right, well, I've got a better idea. And with that, he sort of stands up on the table, sort of stomping his feet, sort of revolving his shoulders a bit, rubs his hands together before sort of raising them to the side of his mouth and sort of cries out,
I didn't understand.
I was going to say,
Your microphone just had a stroke.
yeah, your microphone
so
just
loud,
like...
my mic decided not to pick it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, he screamed rat very, very loudly.
Okay. Give me a persuasion check.
Performance?
Surely perform.
Yeah, performance. Yeah, do performance. I forget the
Either way, it's a -1, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I forget
Come
the
on,
performance is a
baby,
thing.
both the
come
same.
on. First roll.
Oh,
Don't be the fool.
Whoa.
There we go. It's a
not bad.
14.
Okay. You manage to get some attention as many of the nearby patrons to look at you as you just announce rat very loudly. There's a pause as a few people go a little bit quieter. And then someone kind of towards the back kind of yells out, I think he's had too much to drink. And there's a kind of raucous laughter as another one goes, yeah, there's a rat. Get over it. They're all about the place. And there's more laughter from more people. And then everyone seems to go back to their drinks. But you can tell you're going to be the butt of the next few jokes as people seem to laugh about the fact you were so worked up about a rat.
Well, I didn't expect them to all be dirty rat lovers, but I guess we'll just have to do with this.
Yeah, you guys just sit there. I'm gonna go check on for the information. I know the barkeep. We got what we call in Cogwheel a good rapport. And Geronimo's gonna just head off towards the bar.
Yeah, Baron would follow him.
Okay. The Dragonborn who was there before is still sitting back in his seat, gently rasping a knife over some of his scales, seemingly sharpening it. He looks up at you with these kind of emerald blue eyes and stares you down as you get closer. I thought our business was done.
Yeah, Belle, I got a few extra questions for you. Something that I totally forgot about last time, maybe just a few minutes ago, but now I remembered because I got good friends. Do you mind if I ask some more questions?
Go ahead.
Have you heard of or seen somebody, a dwarf, that came through here called Aurello Spine?
He peers around for a second. Gestures at a few dwarves that are sitting in the establishment. Not that one in particular.
Oh, so you ain't seen him?
Shakes his head.
Huh. Okay, but there's some other dwarfs over there. Do you think they might know?
He gives a little shrug. Kind tend to stick together.
Geronimo nods and kind of gives him a smile and goes, hey, thanks, Belle. You enjoy the rest of your... and he kind of looks him up and down. Well, whatever you're doing.
He gives another kind of nod back as in, okay. And then leaves you to your business.
Okay, dude. Geronimo looks towards Baron now. Looks up to him. He goes, hey, Smilesy, what... Do you remember what Arato's meant to look like? Or what clan he's from?
Don't think we ever found out, to be honest with you, but I suppose if they know someone by name, they'd be able to give us more information.
We could always check. How about you take lead on this one? The dwarfs don't always take kindly to me.
Fine. And Baron would kind of approach. Is there like a table of dwarves, or is there a few just kind of dotted around?
There's a few dotted around. There's not a particular table that's just full of dwarves.
Okay, well, he'd probably just go and approach the closest.
Okay. Give me a 1d3, or just pick a number between 1 and 3. It's random either way.
3.
Oh, okay. Okay. Picking one at random, you walk up to the table and you see an assortment of different folk. A dwarf, what looks like to be a half-elf, and a human, all sitting around in the midst of a game that you may have played before, a little bit of Liar's Dice. Dice kind of rattle under their cup as they set them down, and as you walk over, they stop and look up at you with these bleary, kind of half-drunken eyes. The dwarf in particular has this kind of cropped, almost buzz-cut auburn hair with deep, stormy green eyes and very pale skin. They all wear the kind of tattered assortment of garb that you've seen other sailors wearing during your time around docks. He just kind of looks you up and down as they all do. They all seem to be in suspense, waiting to see what you might have to say for just walking up to them.
Yeah, and as he'd approach, Baron would kind of hold out his hands. Sorry to interrupt the game. Just wanted to ask a question, and take no offense, but we're looking for a dwarf. His name's Aurello Spine. I don't suppose you know him?
There's clearly some trepidation as you suggest that you're looking for a dwarf. But as soon as you mention the name Aurello Spine, the dwarf that's sitting there, his face splits into this big old grin. Oh, not me then. No spine here.
So you don't know him?
Hmm? Oh, can't say I know no spines. Us four grogs have been travelling these waters as long as we've known, but no spines.
He kind of just nods to that. And the spines, I'm assuming they're another clan. Have they got any distinguishing features, perhaps?
Landlubbers mostly. Mostly stick to the big cities and the bigger towns, where they can make more of their money. They're the kind of folk that tell us where to go.
Yeah, you just nod to that. Well, that's better than nothing, but thank you. Enjoy your game.
You. He does, practically the words almost gone as he just goes straight back to the dice, clearly where most of his attention and focus is right now.
Hey, Smousy, we're gonna have to make sure that Bigsy don't end up like that guy.
Whether
This
he
is
does or
Wally.
not is it's his issue. We should
Hmm.
probably see about asking one of the others.
Yeah, go for it. I got your back. Don't worry.
Yeah, and Baron would go to approach another dwarf with his gnomish bodyguard by his side.
This one is a female dwarf who's sitting with a couple of gnomes. She has this bald, smooth, round head with these deep caramel eyes. And as you approach, the two gnomes look up at you. They're in the midst of being quite huddled over, talking about something quite quietly. And as you get closer, they almost seem to pull their drinks very close, as if trying to guard themselves. The dwarf looks more relaxed, however, and she looks you up and down. Couple more drinks in me, and I'd give you a tumble.
Yeah, Baron kind of cracks a bit of a smile to that. Well, I'm not here for that. I was just wondering if you know a man by a Rello spine.
And I thought they were making the wait and staff look pretty. A man by a Rello spine. No, can't say I do.
Right, well, I don't suppose you know much about the spine clan at all?
I can say they aren't local to here. I've been here most of my life. These gnomes are just coming in as strangers. No, not really spines round here. If they are, they ain't local.
Yeah, and with that, he'd kind of just nod to her. Well, thank you for your time anyway.
Not a problem. Let me know if you want to earn a silver or two.
I'll remember. And with that, he'd turn back to Geronimo. She seemed interested, but not for what we're after.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna butt in and help you out by saying we don't call you Smousy for no reason, but you look like you handled it yourself.
Thank you, Geronimo. Well,
Farrick nods and gives him a thumbs up.
let's go see the last one.
Yeah, Geronimo kind of clears his throat and nods and follows him.
I'm still appreciating you saying Geronimo is small. Oh, sorry, that Brandon is small.
Yeah.
The final dwarf looks older than the other two that you've seen before. He has a fairly thin, wispy beard that has been kind of neatly curled around itself to keep it in check. His hair is quite scraggly and still full enough, but you can tell definitely beginning to bald, and also tied back in a very long ponytail down between his shoulders. He gives you this kind of rugged offer of the hand as you get closer. Oh, you see you're making your way round all the dwarves right now.
Yeah, and Baron would kind of offer his hand as well, giving him a nod. Yeah, we're looking for a man by the name of Rello Spine.
Rello. Do you know what you look like?
Baron kind of pauses for a moment, looking towards Geronimo. I can't say I do.
Didn't know an Aurello. Knew a Gamma. Gamma spine. Turned up not too long ago. Real thin in the face, all gaunt looking. Nasty looking fella. Stuck around for a little bit. Did some hauling work for the woodsman. Decided it weren't for him and moved on, so I heard.
Do you know where he's gone to?
No, I couldn't say for certain. Spoke about wherever he came from like it was living hell, though. Talked about these small villages and inbred folk who ain't never seen nothing beyond their own two eyes.
We've not heard the nicest things about him, but... And you have no idea where Gamma's gone at all?
Nope. And said all I know is... Said he didn't want to go back to a place like that. That's all.
Okay, well... Thank you anyway. Do you have a name?
Yeah, of course.
Baron kind of just looks
random
to him
name
a bit
generator.
awkwardly.
No, he's saying quite clearly, quite silent.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's Smallsy. I don't think he wants to tell you.
Well, how about a drink and I get your name?
How about a drink and you piss off back to your friend Dwarf over there who's trying to read?
Hey, he's trying, okay? Geronimo kind of calls out.
I'm sure he is. Doesn't look like he's doing very well with it, though. The paper's upside down.
That's just a new technique.
Real clever. So, drink or no?
Well, it depends. Will you tell us anything more, or...?
Ask for my name, and don't want to give it. Any other questions?
I think that's gonna be everything.
Sounds like a drink for me, then.
Well, you can pay. I'm not paying.
His face scrunches up at that. He turns back, muttering something under his breath about tight-fisted.
Aaron kind of just chuckles to himself under his breath, turning away to Geronimo once again. Well, suppose we've got something to go off of, but he was hiding something, but I'm not much of a talker and it's a bit busy to start a fight.
Yeah, I don't suggest we start fights in taverns. Especially as I can't guarantee the safety of all these people around once I get really riled up.
Let's go see how the others are doing.
Okay. Jerome's going to follow him back.
Baron will kind of just walk back to the table.
So how far has Brandon got?
I mean, listen, the last you told me about how you were approaching this paperwork, you were discussing the fact that you were face down on the table, not wanting to do it.
Yeah,
So you tell me, how far do you think you've got?
In educating Durgus.
Yeah. You've been helping Durgus get through his paperwork. You haven't even started yours.
I haven't started mine. I'm trying to help him.
Mm-hmm. You got to the bit where he has to spell his great grandfather's grandfather's name.
Yeah, Jerome's going to kind of waddle back in over to the others and be like, so we got some information, but it's not very promising.
Durga sort of peers up from his book, clearly a little. He's really not enjoying it. His brow sort of furrowed, and obviously his eyes darting up. Goes, "Hey, what is it?"
So maybe Smilesey's the best person to explain that he did most of the talking.
Well, no sign of Arello, but one of them did tell me of another spine. Someone by the name of Gamma. But when I asked the older dwarf over there, and he kind of, not points, but gestures over to the older dwarf that he was just speaking to, didn't seem too keen on giving a name. I said to Geronimo that, realistically, I'm no charmer, but I'm not starting a fight in here.
You
Wait,
don't know
what
why you
did
need
you-
to fight with him.
What
Whose
did you say
information
the
out of
name of
those?
this spine was?
Gamma.
I mean, it was a man, I'm assuming.
I believe so.
It might be our guy. He just could have changed his name.
Right, it could be him.
Does anybody remember what he looks like? Because I overheard him say something about this guy had very gaunt cheeks and looked a bit ugly.
Well, judging how the ghosties apparently mistaked our other friend for him, the old gaunt cheeks, well, probably is part of it.
Sounds like he might be our guy then. But he left.
Well, it's definitely at least worth following up.
Did you see where he last was?
Just said he left the city. I offered to buy him a drink for more information, but just got told to piss off. So we did.
And what was his name?
That's the thing, he wouldn't tell us.
You sure it ain't him? He sort of squints as he peers over. Does the dwarf look like relatively gaunt, or like fitting the
No.
description of what they've been given? Okay.
No, not at all. He's looks a little bit older than the description you've been given, and definitely isn't thin or gaunt or ghoulish in any way. He's got quite olive dark skin. He's probably been out of the sun a while. He looks like the sort of individual who, he mentioned being here all his life, but yeah, nothing like the description you've had.
Hey, well, I doubt it is him. Look, I'm not going to lie, these books are driving me crazy. I mean, me and Brandon here have been pretty hard work.
Yeah, but we got some other leads to go for. If you want to take some time to finish them, we also got.
No. It's fine,
Look,
it's fine.
look.
It's all...
No, Douglas, you go with them. Leave it with me. You've signed your name. I can do the rest.
Yeah, but Hatsu, we ain't gonna leave you here. We need you.
Well,
Do it in
you're
the
only
evening.
gonna what, a day at most?
Well, what if we run into some people that need or some trouble that we need your and he kind of gestures to everything about Brannon.
I suppose I can leave this till tomorrow. Fine, we'll do it tomorrow. Can I at least go to sort out these scrolls today so we can have a bit of funds?
Yeah, just we go to the shops and then we head north to Yarnskal. Yarnskal. That's really hard to say in the accent. Holy fuck. Yarnskal. There we go.
I love it. Works for me. I've got to head down to Xantam?
Xantam?
Xantam.
I don't know what that is. I'm just repeating what you're saying.
It's a magic shop, I was told, and then possibly heading in to see a House Zordon. Apparently they're farmers, but they've got some money, so they might be interested. But after that, we're all free, and that should only take a bit.
Okay, yeah, let's go there, and then we gotta head out the northern gate and head up to Yarnskal.
Okay. So you guys are heading to Xantam de Quitaine, and
Yes, that's the
then
one.
to House Zordon.
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Well, possibly to House Zordon, depending on how well Xantam goes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. So, making your way out onto the streets, you begin moving into the fairly lively and busy kind of avenues that crisscross through the heart of the city of Farrick. Immediately your noses are assaulted with this wave of new smells and sensations in a city that is not entirely alien, but most certainly foreign to you. The amalgam of different people coming together, the food that they make, the things that they wear, the buildings that all come together. Not quite like anything that is found in Midden Fair. The structures are short and squat and made of stone, very permanent, and yet at the same time not towering. It actually gives everyone else almost a more large feeling, as people are much closer to the height of their own buildings. There are stalls and vendors who are just wandering around openly in the streets, kind of trying to hawk goods and yelling about the wares they have for sale. Most, again, still kind of fried snacks, small pottery things like toys and things for children. The stuff that people could hand over a few coins for and then take away very quickly. In the midst of all of this, there are some larger, more ornate buildings that are still quite obvious. In fact, as you move south through the city, passing you on your left, kind of as you move down, remains this single great, almost, I want to say triangular-ish building, atop of which there sits this great stone dome. Additionally, there's also this taller, more blocky building that is peaked with a number of different towers all pointing towards the sky. These buildings almost seem to pierce the sky as they do so, just because they are so vastly different from the others. But they're not really your main target. Instead, you continue to drive south, stopping in every now and again, possibly to get directions from the guards, who are all more than happy to accommodate you. The area seems to be used to tourism, travellers, strangers, new people coming to their shores. There's no real there's certainly no looks at you as being strangers. There's too many people, no one cares. And certainly any kind of officialdom that you ask for help seems quite happy to offer it. It takes you perhaps an hour or so before eventually you'll merge out down through the southern gate of the city, approaching what appears to be quite broad, open-fronted building. Stalls are set up, atop which there stands an arrangement of different items. You've got golden candelabras, you've got funny-looking compasses that seem to keep spinning, you've got odd cloaks that seem to shimmer and change colour, all on display, though each one has this thin piece of gold wire around which a bell has been attached, and these are all set into the object somehow. A few people stand outside the front, and you can tell this is your destination, as carved in very neat script in common is the word Zantam Duquitaine across the front of it. Peering inside, the interior is a little bit gloomier, though it's still very easy to peer into. And there are more desks and stalls and mannequins lined, stacked and coated with yet more objects and artifacts. Funny, almost curios, it seems. Standing at the very back of this kind of front room section, atrium area, there is a rather tall individual with this almost stretched, pale, almost white skin and these deep black pools for eyes. His hair is long and curly and dragged back almost painfully into a bun, and these thin, straggly fingers, like the fingers of a spider, are interlaced together as he stands very close to a couple who appear to be inspecting what looks to be a fairly thick and heavy-looking brown leather tome. Just as you approach the front of the building, they shake their heads, and he smiles very politely and bows his own before they place the object back on the side and depart, just going past you.
I will step to one side, let him go, and then start walking towards the counter where this man stands. Excuse me, is this the right place to buy and sell magical things?
Magical things?
Well, scrolls, specifically.
Magical things?
I feel like I've offended you.
No. There are no magical things in this establishment. Instead, there are artifacts, pieces of power, items of wonderment, not things.
Well, I have some scrolls that I've made myself, and I was wondering if you would be inclined to purchase them off me.
Creator, much like myself. Let me see. Take them over here to my desk. And as he says that, he gestures you to one side, leading you over to one part of the wall where a concentration of different objects for identifying, studying, and creating kind of different smaller magical items have been laid out, all of them connected to the desk by this very thin silver chain. Each one has kind of its own.
Geronimo's going to follow, and because he seems interested in this, is going to take a look. Going to stand next to Brandon as this all goes on.
Brandon will take out one of the scrolls of detect magic he's got and lay it out on the table. I have 2 of these for now. I'm intending to make more, but I need the supplies and, you know.
I see, I see. One moment, please. Yeah, he tries to take one of the scrolls, and if allowed, he'd pull them to one side, place them down on the desk, and he begins to first lift up a crystal and run it across the skull. As he does so, the crystal begins to glow with this dull white light. He nods his head as if this is the right sort of response, before placing it down, unfurling the scroll, checking the text, reads across it very, very quickly, takes a those kind of, those magnifying glasses that are kind of set into a structure that allows them to be kind of dragged across kind of parchment or paper so that you look at words. He takes one of these and moves it across, inspecting the lettering, checking. He pauses every now and again. In fact, with almost quite expert practice, he actually comes to each of the points where maybe you didn't make a mistake, but you feel that your calligraphy wasn't quite perfect, and he actually stops almost at every single one of them and seems to pause. You can almost sense his tutting as he moves along, before eventually finishing, rolling the scroll back up, tying them up, doing the same with the second one, and then nodding his head. These seem to be of a fairly high quality, not the most perfect I have ever seen, but definitely within the grade that I would allow to be sold here. How much exactly are you looking for?
Well, how much do you sell magical ink for? Let's start there.
Magical ink? It depends on the quantity.
Well, say enough to write one of these scrolls up.
As an individual purchase?
Just as an example, yes.
I would charge 5 silver pieces.
Okay. In that case, maybe for each scroll, say, it's about another few copper to get the parchment, so I want to at least make a profit, so should we take 10 gold per scroll?
10 gold? Give me a persuasion
No, 1.
check.
Okay.
I love how you were immediately about to sort of just like.
I was going to retcon, but then.
No, that's fine. With an 11? I cannot run to 10 gold. We have our own costs to take into account here, and as I said, this isn't the finest work I have seen. I would be willing to run to 5 gold per scroll.
Should we meet in the middle and say 7?
We shall meet at 7. He bows his head graciously as if he's giving you the deal.
And I'll take out the second one and slide them across, not willing to make any more demands at that.
He quite happily takes the scrolls, places them to one side, moves off to a corner of the room where he quickly sways his hand in front of what looks to be a small padlock inlaid in which there is a number of arcane sigils. They glow in a particular order before the lock eventually clicks off, and he opens it up to pull out some gold coins. Counting them up as he does so, he eventually returns and pushes 15 over towards you. A gold extra for simplicity and for good business with a new customer.
Thank you. In that case, and I'll slide 2 gold back, can I purchase that amount of magical ink? And if there's any spare left over, a few pieces of parchment as well.
Of course, of course. One moment. He takes the gold back, turns, and begins picking at small jars and measuring out measures of ink, as well as collecting some spare parchment. Is anyone else looking around for anything in particular whilst they're here? It is a magic shop, and there are a few bits and bobs that are sitting around.
No, but Geronimo kind of like. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
I was gonna say no. I'm poor.
Nice to meet you, Paul. I'm Geronimo. Hey.
Hi, Geronimo. I'm poor.
We're so entertaining.
I think Durgus, obviously not really knowing masses about magic, would just go around and just look at like the funky rings and stuff and seeing if they're really sort of fat enough to fit on his thing. Fit on his fingers.
You want a funky ring?
Yeah, he's gonna go to jewelry. You know what? He likes his rings.
Baby, give me a 1d20.
Roll 1d20. That's a 4.
That's a 4? Okay. Okay, you wander along, and a lot of these things have names that you don't really understand. This is clearly magic that makes no sense. This is magic people learn in books. This is no good to you. This isn't the kind of magic you use. This isn't the kind of power that comes from the hunt. Absolutely no good whatsoever. Though you do come across one ring in particular. It is titled The Ring of Sidir. And it definitely looks big enough to fit around one of your fingers. Sidir must have been a fairly broad person. As you pick it up, there's almost this mental engram that passes into you, almost like a memory, as if suddenly you just about remember what this thing does. A fairly interesting technique of almost putting descriptions on these items that informs you that this ring is almost like a font of good luck. It's that warm, pleasant feeling of kind of once a day, your luck just turns. It's just whenever you need it, there's just that moment of good fortune that comes in.
Well, Durga's feeling a sort of warm pulse, sort of perks a big old bushy eyebrow. Of course, getting a sensation of sort of luck. And knowing with his recent bout of rolls, I think he'd move on over towards, or sort of taking it over quite brashly towards the shop man, and sort of puts it down on the table. How much for this?
Oh. Ah, I see. A man of taste. The Ring of Sidir. Given the deal I've just made with your friend, and I am in a good mood today, I would be willing to part with that ring for a paltry 100 gold.
He sort of narrows his eyes, like thinking for a moment before peering down and going through his pockets. Right, well, I don't think I'll do that right now, but maybe when we come back we might have some more money?
I am willing to put the ring on hold for you for a week. I can do that.
I don't like that.
Yes, it would cost no money, and there would be no hard feelings if you didn't purchase it after the week.
You are, very rarely is these sort of things connect with me. I mean, it's usually just jumbo jargon. But, I mean, that one made me feel good, so...
I think it will make you feel good going forwards, too, if you can continue with the purchase.
You seem like a pretty reasonable guy, hey there, pal. So we'll make sure we come back and get it for our captain over here.
Your captain? Very impressive, then. The ring will serve him well, and I try to be reasonable. It is important that my customers feel valued and that they are getting good deals. Also, as one of the only licensed traders in magical items around this place, it is very important you are all treated fairly.
In the spirit of being treated fairly, do you know much about House Zordan?
Zordan? Yes, a little bit. Nothing more than what they put in the news.
They been in the news?
Well, they're one of the most powerful houses here in Farrick. They are responsible for some of the largest plantations and agrarian compounds on the island.
Oh, I see.
Yes, remarkably important. Part of, well, I believe one of them even numbers on the triax right now.
What's that?
I assume you are all strangers. You say, Captain, have you come in on a boat recently?
Exactly. You got him one.
I see. The city is ruled by a trio of the highest priests of the three most important deities here. These are the triax, and normally the most powerful houses compete to have one of their number placed in the different priesthoods. Currently, House Zordan has one of the triax.
That means they are definitely powerful.
Most certainly.
Okay, well, thanks for... I got another question, actually. Have you heard much about the disappearances up north in Yarnscal?
I can't say about Yarnskull in particular. It is a place I do not get out to very often. But I can most certainly say there have been disappearances around here recently. Not really in this district, though I have some friends who frequent the poorer areas around the docks, and most certainly some of them mention people going missing and vanishing. It started a few weeks ago, maybe? Yes, a few weeks ago, perhaps.
Well, thanks, pal. That's all the questions that I had. Do you need anything else, Hatsy, or are we going?
Actually, there is one last thing. Also, actually, how much magic ink and parchment did he give me?
He hasn't yet. This kind of conversation has happened
Okay.
whilst he's collecting things together. You will get it at the end.
There's also this. I don't know if you're very proficient in alchemy and the like.
He just nods his head and is still listening.
I've got this, and I just wanted to know what on earth it was. And I'll take out the ink pot filled with the weird black goo we got back in Badgerton.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He takes it for a moment, holds it close to him, gives it a sniff, frowns at the smell for a moment. I believe it might be Tears of the Earth?
Tears of the Earth?
It is.
Do you mean oil?
I mean, we call it Tears of the Earth. It is a formation, an aqueous liquid that forms around deep pockets of pure magic and energy underground. It can be quite a powerful fuel in the right circumstances. It can also be deeply dangerous and quite toxic. A small amount like this is harmless, though I wouldn't recommend drinking it.
Would Geronimo know much about Tears of the Earth? Like, would that be used in any of the engineering and the magical engineering that the gnomes of Cogwheel had used?
They would have tinkered with it. It's the sort of thing that's considered experimental even by gnomes, which tells you how experimental it is. It definitely is something that there would have been a store of at Cogwheel, and you yourself may have messed around with it from time to time, but it's quite expensive, difficult to extract, and because of the toxicity, they don't like you doing a huge amount of just experimentation with it. So you didn't get to do a lot with it. You were more focused on the R&D.
Okay. Yeah, Geronimo looks towards Brandon and goes, "Yeah, I heard of the that stuff. It's there ain't many gnomes that are even experimental with it. So maybe we just keep it in a safe place for now."
Do you want it? You seem to know more than I do.
I mean, hey, you know, you give an engineer a blank canvas, he gonna make some art. But yeah, sure, I'll take it.
I'll have it's only a small ink pot's worth, but I'll hand it over.
Yeah, Geronimo's gonna take it.
I appreciate the fact that you give an engineer a blank canvas and he'll make art.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that, but it's fine.
I'm cringing internally.
Yeah.
It's mechanical art.
Yeah,
how
dude.
dare you guys attack me for playing my character?
What the hell are painters anyway?
Anyone can do it. Just be an engineer, Lamau.
How Jared just like literally unmuted for a second to go cringe and then muted again.
It's his
I know
addition
how
to the
it be.
conversation.
I know how it be.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so you come to this kind of arrangement, this agreement, and finally the individual provides for you, Mr. Brannan, 3 pots of magical ink, as well as 50 sheets of parchment.
Jesus
Holy
Christ!
shit.
Okay.
Gonna be
And
making
the pots
scrolls
of magical ink are one.
They would be one.
Sheet
Yeah,
each.
there'll be a sheet each.
Okay. Well, I'll set for parchment for a while.
Mm-hmm. That's enough for many triplicates.
Thank you. We'll make our leaves now. And as Brannon turns and starts to walk out, he will, to each member of the party, hand 3 gold from his little purchase.
Oh, wow.
Everyone had 3 gold. Brandon's given you
Oh,
pocket money.
fine.
Hell yeah.
I want to go spend it all on sweets.
Yay, Daddy Brandon.
Oh, yikes.
Definitely,
That is
definitely.
painful.
We're moving
Hey,
on as
what?
quickly as possible.
It
Please don't do that.
That is definitely a nickname that's not sticking.
No, it's not.
What a bet.
Datsy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, not at all is
threat?
that sticking.
Is that a threat?
Datsy.
We're moving on very quickly. You've just wandered out of Zantam de Quitaine. Where are you off to now?
In that case, we should just head to the North Gate. No point. I've got everything I wanted.
Okay.
As they're moving, Jono is going to look up to Brandon and go, so, Hetzy, I've been meaning to ask you, because I got my own kind of magic that works with tinkering and tailoring and all that stuff. But it seems like you get a lot of your magic in that written form.
Yes, it's a lot of study and slow learning. I'm not quite as lucky as others where they get magic from birth. I've had to learn it.
But ain't nothing wrong with a bit of hard work, especially when it comes to magic. Makes makes for really great results. I've seen a lot of very gifted people that ain't so bright in the actual creative part, but you seem to do a pretty good job.
Thank you. I'm sure I can help in many ways. Would you like to learn some?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, teach me something.
Oh, well, I can't do it right now, but maybe when we're back on the ship.
Oh, but then why did you make the offer? It sounded like you were going to show me as we were walking.
It takes a while. You've got to read a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, show me back when we're traveling.
Brandon will nod.
With this
It's
deal cemented by firm friends, you continue up through the city, retracing your steps for the most part, and leaving through the gate you entered. As you do so, the Doomsayer is still out there, yelling his doom. Beware! Beware! Up there in the Sky Watcher, they look down upon the rend in the earth, and they do declare that it will soon be upon us. Just this continual diatribe of doom, death, and destruction, still echoing in the background as you begin to make your way up through and away from the city proper. On this northern side, there are these kind of plumes and clouds of fog that seem to stick around ever so slightly, as you notice that the few houses that are here quickly make way for large open timber yards, some of which also seem to have charcoal burners, which creates this more smoggy industrial area. But you soon manage to kind of pass through that with your walking. Natara, give me a perception check.
Okie dokie.
Cool.
21.
21's very,
Nice.
very good. Okay. As you are kind of beginning to leave the last few buildings of Farrick behind, there is someone who catches your eye. An individual standing as unobtrusively as possible off to one side. They don't appear to be looking at you. Instead, they seem to be studying a scroll quite intently. And it's someone the others miss entirely because they don't recognize them, but you do. In these kind of grey and white robes, trimmed with this kind of bronze lacing. There is a rather pale-looking figure with deep, almost amber eyes that glow out from under their hood. You recognize this as being Yaria, one of the people who was a part of your shade cell back in Middenfair.
I see. Tara, she looks over and then, oh, guys, come this way, she says, and walks over to her, to Yaria.
Jerome's going to walk over with her.
Yaria is...
Go on.
Yaria is very caught up in her reading until you get very, very close. She looks up as if about to apologize almost for loitering. And then she spots you and her eyes glow a little bit brighter as she lowers the scroll and puts her hands on her hips. Natara, is that you?
That's me.
What brings you here?
Yeah, I was about to say the same. Funny to see you here.
Work. I mean, she points out towards
Like
where the
what?
docks and stuff are. They said you'd left the Republic, but I didn't know you'd be coming here. Who are your friends?
Oh, this is Toast. She says in justice to Geronimo.
She looks
this-
already remarkably confused.
This is Burgess. This is Brannon, and this is Baron.
Lovely to meet you all. I hope you're treating Natara well.
We're treating her perfectly well. She's a real asset to our ship. Yeah, very important.
Are you part of a cult?
Goodness me. Well, he's convinced that Shade's a cult.
A cult? No.
Well, I mean, look at her.
She's a scholar.
Yes, I'm a scholar. This is just what I wear. It keeps the sun off my skin. It looks nice. She almost seems defensive about her clothing.
Don't
Jorah's
mind.
gonna. Oh, sorry, go on.
That was it. She was just saying, don't mind him.
Yeah, Jorah's gonna kind of feign backhand slap Durgis's right arm and go, yeah, don't mind the captain. The captain's all culty walty because we ran into some cultists one time.
Noticing Natara's reaction and Geronimo's, Yari is going to smile almost knowingly as she takes a step forward and points towards Durgus. Tell you what, the next time you say I'm a cultist, we'll have a little fight about it. And we'll see what you have to say.
Cultist.
It's happening, boys.
Why?
Okay.
Why?
Just before we're about to go and find the bald man.
Okay. Durgus. Does a 16 hit?
Give me a second, I need to double check. It does, just.
Okay, that's fine. I just need to double check exactly how it's calculating this. That's
You
a lot.
take
That's a lot of stuff.
160 damage.
Instant death.
No. I know. No. There's a couple of damages showing up. I just wanted to double check because when something has multiple versions, I build it all into the same sheet, so I'm sure I don't make sure I don't add damage together. Okay. As she smiles and flicks her hand towards you, almost as if kind of knocking away a piece of chess in front of her, from behind her, in a flash of light, there is this small, almost short sword that flies out, swings towards you, and strikes down into your shoulder. As soon as it does so, it vanishes, but you feel like you have been hit by a ton of bricks as you take 14 psychic damage.
Fucking hell. Well, that's not going to convince him she's not one. Right, give me a second. There we go. Oh, that's not right. There we go. What the hell? Why can't I change my health? Oh, there we go.
That one.
Wait, is that right? It is. So obviously with this happening, he's going to sort of stumble backwards, blinking a few times as he reaches to sort of hold his shoulder, though his hand then quickly sort of moves to his head as it sort of reverberates through him. He's going to blink a few times, sort of grunting and furrowing his eyebrows. What the bloody hell was that?
As you ask what that was, she lifts up her other hand, and from over her other shoulder, not striking out this time, but 3 more of these kind of ethereal pale swords begin to rise and spin as they circle her head, almost like a halo. She seems to gesticulate as if conducting them to do so, and she just says, "Not a cult? Part of a circle. Say it with me. Not a cult. Part of a circle."
Seems a little extreme.
Geronimo's gonna jump in between them, kind of holding both hands out, like a sort of, kind of, what is I'm trying to think of what, I can't use English, Jake. I'm trying to think of the words, but I can't think of them. As a kind of I want to say doorstop, but he's just like a barricade. That's it,
Okay,
barricade
yeah.
between Durgus and the Shade Lady. He goes, just leave my cabin alone. And he's clearly shivering.
She'd nod at Baron and say, "A little extreme, perhaps. Natara and I were always more moderate. But now, where is that, Captain? Say it with me. Not a cult, a circle."
He goes to sort of try and clamber over Geronimo. It's like, what do you bloody mean a circle? You're part of a bloody oblong for all I care. What are you bloody doing with those swords? How can you make them bloody fly?
Well, how can your axe fly?
He throws
Well,
it.
because I bloody throw it like a normal person.
Magic! She throws them with magic!
Yeah,
And where did she get it from? And where did she get it from?
My magic. My lineage. She points at her glowing eyes.
That's pretty normal, Captain.
What is she? I don't understand.
Well, she's clearly been blessed by some crazy old dark thing. Like
Well,
Baron too.
Blessed?
Don't
Crazy
get
old
me
dark
involved in
thing?
this.
No. My family are simply bestowed with the blessings of angels.
Bran is going to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he's gonna furrow his eyebrows at that. Like, what the hell are you saying? As he tries to see if there's I think he's gonna try and see if she seems genuine in that, or if she's taking the piss.
Give me an insight.
Was Gavin going to do the same thing?
No, I was going to do something else, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
And Natara's just sighing. They're going,
17.
17's pretty good. There just seems to be kind of faint amusement in her eyes, in her face, like from what you can see of her and what you can judge through this entire conversation. Not once has she ever seemed malicious. Not once has she ever seemed like genuinely offended. It all just seems to be about kind of proving a point. It seems to be about making clear what she's trying to say. In fact, even as you say this and kind of watch her, her hand begins to slow and the blades begin to kind of slow above her head. Eventually, when they reach that point of stopping, they shimmer and then vanish.
Aren't angels meant to be nice and, not throwing swords at people?
Aren't dwarves supposed to be polite?
No.
Well, they are here.
I can fully agree with Douglas that they aren't here.
And as I
I'm
said,
so sorry about this. It's, he's very skeptical to everything.
it's all right.
Bloody stuff like this. And what's that about a circle? I mean, you don't particularly seem circle-shaped. I mean, you may have got a few pounds done there, but
It's
sort of
another
points
term.
towards it.
It's another term
Oh,
for
well.
group, Durgus. It means they're a group.
He's also a bit dim.
Oh, I could tell that. She nods her head very slowly. It's
I
good,
can bloody hear that.
it's good of you to look after the less fortunate. Nods her head at Natara.
Why, thank you.
Whilst in doorstop mode, Geronimo's going to turn around and put a hand on Durgis's shoulder where he got attacked and was holding on to it and goes, "Don't worry, Captain. I'll use my good magic to fix all the problems." And he's going to cast Cure Wound on Durgis. Cast spell. You get
Oh,
9 healing.
Nice.
9 points of
that's
healing.
pretty sexy.
That's
Okay.
pretty solid.
There you go. I'm basically full health again.
There you go.
And he's going to offer a kind, if not appreciative, nod towards Geronimo as he obviously feels the sort of pain in his head seem to subside, though his gaze is quickly turned back towards the self-proclaimed angel lineage woman. Right, well, you're part of a group, and I assume you're part of this shade. How'd you bloody know Natara?
We worked together. We were part of the same
Aye.
cell.
That's a cell.
A smaller group within the group.
Yes.
And you throw swords as well? He says towards Natara.
No.
Yeah, you should learn how to do that. That was a.
We
It
all
felt
got
pretty
our
powerful.
different abilities.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just Yoria nods her head and just says, "Everyone's work is different. Everyone's an individual in shade. There's literally no uniformity. That's kind of the point. We're broken into cells to make management easier, and everyone just sort of pursues their own research. That's why Natara's with you, I assume.
Aye.
Why are you here?
Because I have my own research."
He sort of narrows his eyes. And what are you exactly researching? I mean, both of you, what do your shit actually do?
Well, I'm researching waters and stories.
From what I heard, you were looking at marine biology and
Hmm.
plant life in coastal regions.
Aye.
Yes, that's what I was told. I'm here looking at natural magics that form in communal loci.
Hey, well, I understand at least two of those words, but I still don't really trust neither of you. I mean, he sort of huffs and places
How
both hands
long
on
have
his
we been
waist.
traveling now, Durgus? I mean, you don't trust me.
Hey, well, it's because you don't really help much.
Excuse me?
Neither I mind you of the boat incident.
What boat incident?
Well, you bloody stood around laughing, and well, the rest of us were hard at work.
Oh, aye, that. Yeah, I was busy.
Busy being a ass.
Busy writing. Doing my work. Doing my job.
And he sort of exhales sharply and rolls his eyes. Still, is this family reunion done, or is she gonna lob swords at people again before going to go worship some crazy cult god?
Not done just yet. You see, there's something going on here, which is why we're here. There's the reason he's so scared of cultists is because there are indeed probably cultists here, and we've tracked them here.
I've been active in the city a little while now. Week and a half. I admit there's some nascent diabolical worship in some of the individuals. They carry old items around their neck.
I made of like driftwood and ship's items.
Oh no, I've not seen anything like that.
We
What have you
came
seen?
from another town, and well, they were calling themselves a militia, but they were killing people who refused to join them and things like that.
No, I don't know anything about that. She then looks to Durgus, who asked what she had seen. Just individual citizens carrying kind of little items, fetishes, tokens of religions that you would consider less than savoury. Leftover, I assume, of the, well, cataclysmic existence of the city.
What do you mean of your cataclysms?
Oh, have they not told you about the Sky Watcher?
Oh, she's told me bloody nothing.
Well, Natara's only just come here. From what I'm aware, she hadn't left Middenfair before now. No, the Sky Watcher. She points back towards the city where the great stone orb is still quite visible towards the centre. It's an ancient edifice, somewhere to direct, control, and contain magics used for divination. It's used to look upon a, well, they call it the rend, the rift, the tear. It's supposed to be a point at which realms have collided. She points out towards the bay where you can see the large island that was sitting in the bay with the stone towers arrayed around it. It's to watch there safely from a distance. The locals believe that sooner or later it's going to erupt and destroy everything.
They might not
It's
be
sort of-
wrong in that.
What, so it's like a big old door to another place?
Well, they don't really know. That's what they think it must be. Something's trying to get through is the assumption. But they've been assuming
could-
that for years.
It could well be connected to what we've found in the other village we came from.
Oh, maybe, but this thing has been here. The Skywatcher has been here since the city was established, apparently. And they've been thinking the world was going to end since they installed the Skywatcher.
You seem to know an awful lot about that.
That's my job.
That's kind of our job.
I've been stationed here. It's my job to find these things out.
He just sort of narrows his eyes, clearly still distrusting her, before peering back towards the others. We haven't learned much about them wanting to open up some big old rift yet, have we?
Can I, using Geronimo's knowledge of the arcane, consider whether or not the cult could bring some of the. I think Ulcral was one of the names that was brought up and everything like that. But bring a deity-like person of, I don't know, Ulcral's magnitude through a gate like that.
You can give me an arcane check. Or Arcana, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, Arcana, here we go. And I get 21.
That pretty good. You'd be aware that there are plane shifting spells, and indeed some theoretically could be set up in such a way that they become permanent and then expanded to allow for more powerful entities. However, when it comes to the gods and the divine, that's really kind of comprehending stuff that just is on a whole nother level. Like the idea of stuff moving between planes and anchoring it to allow more powerful things to come through, yeah, theoretically that could be possible. But when we start talking deities and gods, that just for you is just going too far above what you're currently aware of.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Geronimo kind of looks towards Durgus and goes, I mean, there's a possibility that, they could anchor the power there and bring something through that's strong, but godlike, something to do with what the cult are worshipping, it ain't real feasible, at least from what I can tell, and that's just too beyond any mortal magic user.
Well, maybe one. I mean, I don't really know your magic types, but there seems to have got quite a few members. And, powerful ones at that. I mean, they could be trying to do something with that. I mean, this bloody Okrov fella don't seem very nice. Ain't that right, Baron?
Well, I don't know what it is that's affecting me. And with that, he'd kind of look towards, is it Yaria? Was that her name?
Yaria, yes.
Yeah. He'd look towards, do you know anything about more underwater-based, don't know if deity's the right name, but creatures of worship, I suppose. Undeath, it seemed.
Odd combination. Undeath and the sea don't really go hand in hand traditionally in religion or the arcane, though I suppose they could. She seems to be really scouring her memory as she says that. Not really my area of expertise. I more deal with the emergence of power on the coast because of the sea. Though, if you could, you might check on the nature of fear and worship. It's a treatise in particular that I think mentions it. Otherwise, there's Whistlestaff's seminal work, The Titans of the Undersea. That might also work. There's a few more, but I'd need to go back and check my books on them.
I'll take your word for it. Well, thank you anyway. I'm just trying to wrap my head around something.
If there's
Ian.
nothing else.
Oh, I was going to say, while we're interrogating you, do you know anything about drakes?
As in the small draconic beings.
Yeah, and with that, he'd, oh wait, I need to double check this real quick. How many times I can do it without going and come back? No, he'd do it anyway, and he'd sort of click his fingers and point towards the ground. Sort of going, Pudge! Like that, and obviously I imagine a puff of smoke would appear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as Pudge appears, she takes a step back as if she hadn't expected that, before smiling almost gleefully as she says, "Oh, remarkable! You have yourself a little friend. Did you say his name was Pudge?"
He's a bit tubby.
Yes, I suppose he is.
But still, I mean, we found this big sort of mechanical egg, and it had it wanted my blood, and he was inside of it, and I don't really know if you know anything about that. I mean, sort of summoning little pudgy lizard things.
Are you referring to a sanctic shell?
Aye.
Oh, interesting. Well, I mean, if you had to hand over yours of blood, it was clearly locked to a person of your family, or your lineage, or maybe even to you specifically. But you said the egg for this creature was locked in there?
Yes.
Oh, definitely something of a hand-me-down then. I know a little. Taking a look at him, based on the translucency of scales, the shimmering of colours, You have something quite rare in the fact that it's not locked to one particular element. Normally these creatures are chromatic and a single being of the chromatic, but you have almost achromatic.
So we can set on fire and stuff, 'cause he's done that before.
Fire? Lightning? Air? She kind of shrugs slightly. All of the colours of the dragons. Not the metallics. I don't see any of that in him.
Right, well, I mean, I was more asking after, sort of these deals. I mean, my grandpa got around a lot, but, I mean, do drakes tend to just hand over their eggs to people?
No. How he may have acquired it, if it is your grandpa who got it, I couldn't say for certain. She shrugs slightly. Though it appears to be relatively loyal to you, and they've been known to attach to things they see or any kind of entity they feel a strong emotional connection to. Sort of the same way that a duck does, or a goose does when it's born. Imprinting, I think they call it.
Well, he's not a duck or a goose, but I think I understand what you mean. Still a thank you, I guess. And he sort of then peers back towards Pudge, gives him a bit of a scratch behind the ears before sort of clapping his hands together and dismisses him.
Okay. Anything else? That
I
sounds
think
like
Doug's quite content.
that sounds like the silence of a party who's done interrogating. Yaria bows her head, kind of in farewell, as she says, I need to get back to my observations, but it was good talking to Tara. Keep your eyes peeled, you hear?
Aye, likewise. If you see some people wearing trinkets around their neck, like part of a ship, like some rope, cork, or whatever, just keep your eyes peeled.
I will. See you. And with that, she gives a kind of
Bye.
curt wave and leaves.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta. As I think we're going to take our first break here, so we went a little bit longer than we used to, but we were having fun, we were role-playing. So we're going to go take a break, grab some snacks, go to the toilet, and we shall be right back very, very soon. Okay?
Swell.
Hello and welcome back. Apologies that one took a little bit longer. We've hit some technical issues with Jensen. We are going to be angry at him when he returns, but I'm sure he will blame other people. Still, we are jumping back in exactly where we left off, which was with the party leaving Farrick, heading north out of the city towards the distant horizon that has a few trees still left over, not quite cut down by the hard-working woodsman. And even further in the distance from there, the gentle rise of some hills coming close to crags and even very small mountains. The walk to Yarnskill takes a couple of days. This is a hell of a journey with regards to just walking.
Well done.
The first day passes relatively peacefully. The route is well travelled. There are plenty, roughly speaking, people to pass you back, as is iconic with and soon you find yourself out in the sticks. Though the sticks is a relative term, for this island in which Farrick sits upon, there is a great deal of farmland. Expanses and just acres of this place are covered in a patchwork of different fields, some which quite clearly have kind of golden wheat and barley, others that have these tall green stalks where corn is beginning to grow. Some have these kind of low bushes that appear to have bright red and yellow fruit growing off of them. There's a relative order to the place, and everything seems to be somewhat organised around these small holding houses that just intersperse this network of fields. But there's no kind of, miles and miles of just one crop. Continuing further as you get closer to the mountains, these fields begin to disperse, and after a night's camp and a long rest for all of you, feel free to take that. We don't need to stop for that.
Oh,
Oof.
we get spell point back.
Yeah,
Also,
spells, hit points.
Just realised we got 3 days to hand on that thing. It's already taken us 2 to get here.
It'll take 2 to get to Yarnskull, and you're in 1. Yeah. It's fine. You come back with the paperwork. The ship might be unimpounded. Continuing on to the second day, the ground begins to become more broken up as you begin to rise into a crevice between 2 of the mountains. A broken sign states that this place happens to be... I've got to go. This happens to be Darkstone Pass. And as you move along, you haven't seen the people for a number of days. It takes a few hours of slow climbing, but eventually you find this kind of winding, scree-filled ravine that twists its way between these mountains. There are patches of flat ground, which are something of a relief, but the landscape around, at least in this brief area, is not nearly as welcoming as the one you just left. As you move along ahead of you, you notice kind of half buried in the ground what looks to be a cartwheel and the leg of maybe a goat or a small horse poking its way out of the ground next to the cartwheel. Just slightly further along, appears the cart that those things were probably attached to, now crashed off to one side. What do you guys want to do?
Can I just double check why it is we're going to this place? I think I missed.
Why you're going to Yarnskull?
Yeah, was it last session?
It was
Yeah.
mostly last session it was established. But you remember Argo, the headsman from Storia?
Oh, yeah.
He was heading to Farrick, and it was rumoured and reported that a man fitting his description was trying to hire a band of gnolls and then headed up to Yarnskull. Around the same time, a number of abductions and disappearances were also reported. So it's likely a connection there.
That's fine. And you said there was like a cart ahead of us.
Yeah, so there's a cart that looks like it's been kind of knocked over. The cart wheel is stuck into the ground, and next to the cart wheel, just the leg of some kind of pack animal is sticking out of the ground too. As if buried.
Yeah. Well, in that case, Band would look to the rest of the group. Should we leave it be or go have a look?
I think maybe we should have a look just in case anyone's in trouble.
Yeah, and Baron will kind of begin moving forward towards the cart.
Brandon will follow, although keeping a couple steps behind.
Could I get some passive perceptions from people, please? I just used a lot of P words.
Mine's just 10.
15.
Wait, is it 10 plus your
10 plus,
perception?
10 plus the perception modifier.
Okay, that's 12 then.
Mine for 9.
The eyes in the front of your face.
Maybe.
Durgus has 16, 15. Geronimo, what was your passive perception?
I just dropped out for a second.
Ah, poopy. That's fine, he's got 13. Okay. Brannon and Baron, you make your way forwards just ahead of the rest of you. You know, you're not too far ahead, and check out the ruined cart. The place is very still, and in the back of the cart there appears to just be the remains of what may have been trade goods. There's a couple of pots, a couple of pans, a little bit of lumber, a sack with some cloth inside, nothing particularly valuable or useful. Though you do notice hanging off of the traces at the front, there are these blood-stained harnesses and lines just swaying very gently in the wind, as if something was wrenched away or gouged out or attacked quite violently whilst it was still in its traces.
Yeah, and seeing this, I think Baron would kind of use the end of his axe, so not like the head, but the like pommel of it, I suppose, and kind of just knock it against the cart a few times, calling out kind of that to their surroundings. Anyone there? Anyone still alive?
As you do so, perceptions again. Okay. Natara and Baron, you both catch a glimpse, just out the corner of your eye, as a shadow seems to almost pass overhead. You see it swoop kind of across the floor very quickly, and the two of you I just mentioned would catch a glimpse of it also passing overhead. Something moving quite large very quickly overhead.
What was that? Did you see that?
Probably wildlife, but it seemed quite big.
Aye, big wildlife in that case.
Do either of you know anything that might be around here? Looking to Natara and Brannon.
Not that I know of.
With those rapid responses, I'm going to need perception checks, please, from Natara and Aaron.
Okay.
13.
Okay. Baron, you are the only one to spot this in time. But just as quickly approaching, the shadow flashes out again, except this time much closer, appearing from the rocks off to one side. It swoops in, kind of flying down from about 100 feet up as quickly as it can towards you. This awful winged monstrosity, which seems to glide about on these updrafts. The body of a lion, these scaled wings beating quite heavily, this mane of razor-sharp spines that terminate in this almost pincushion tail. It is circling you as you notice that it has the face of a snarling human. And as it does so, I am going to bring us to a battle board. And
Sounds like I came back just in time. Holy shit.
you did. As I'm going to need my notepad so I can keep track of this thing's height above you, or height above the ground. Loading in successfully. Just realised I haven't looked at the other screen for some time and it's now rolling all of the dice.
We can't see at the moment. Is that deliberate?
Yes. Very briefly while I set things up. Quick conversion, global elimination. There, global elimination. Save changes. Now you should be able to see.
Oh.
And for the stream, we shall jump over to our battle board.
The shit is this thing?
What the shit is that thing? A very good question. Well, no time to find out as we jump straight into our combat music. And I would like from all of you some initiative rolls, please.
Let's do it.
Yes.
The 6.
3. I got that one, guys.
No, if
I've got
only.
20.
I know what the enemy is. It's a Deckard Camera.
Deckard camera.
I tried.
These are bad memes.
bad.
I'll
meme.
roll for Durgus. Do we have Natara back, or is no? She's back quickly. That's fine. I'll roll for Natara as well. Okay, that's everyone rolled. I can begin combat now. Due to the suddenness of this assault, the suddenness of this attack, everyone bar Baron is considered surprised for this round. Yep, so that means Brannon, no thank you, Durgus, no thank you, Natara, get out of here, but this Manticore, he's getting a turn. As he is flying about 50 feet overhead, he is going to go... I'll make sure I minimize this stuff so I can actually move around. Oh, whoops, that's going to move all of you. That's not what I want to do. I want to just select one of you. He is going to swoop past. As he does so, he is going to unleash a swipe of his tail, throwing a number of spines down towards, let's say... down towards Baron, Durgus, and Tara in that order. Against Baron, that is a 15 to hit.
That hits.
So you will take 6 points of piercing damage as one of the spines impales you. Against Durgus, that is a 9 to hit, which is definitely not going to hit. And against Natara, that is an 11 to hit, which also won't. So as one of these spines thuds into kind of the thigh there, Baron, you feel it kind of pierce, but it kind of more grazes up against you, taking this great gouge of flesh out, but still mostly a flesh wound. Durgus, meanwhile, manages to hop back in time, avoiding the spine as it thuds down between his legs. Natara also ducks, and the spine flies over her head as the Manticore finishes its strafing run and ends its turn. Baron, you are not surprised. You can act.
So, Baron is going to... Did you say it's like how high up is it?
It's 50 feet up, roughly.
Well, in that case... a little bit ambitious, but still gonna try it regardless. Baron is going to reach for one of the javelins that he would carry with the rest of his belongings and try to throw it towards the Manticore.
Of course. And what is the range on a javelin? I don't remember off the top of my head.
30 to 120.
Okay, so you can attack, but it would be at disadvantage because you're in your long range.
Yeah, that's fine. It would be anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
let's go for it. Oh boy, that's a 9 to hit.
A 9 to hit. That javelin is thrown up. It arcs. It drops down. It thuds into the ground. Somewhere near where the ground below where the Manticore is currently circling you, but yeah, it's not happening.
Dang. Right. That's going to be it then.
Okay, as we go to Geronimo, who is surprised. Brannon, we're back to you. No longer surprised.
Brannon, feeling a little terrified of what the hell this thing is going to cast Mage Armor on himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then is going to... All of these rocks that are out in the open are pretty small. Is there any I could really maybe get a bit of cover behind?
Some of these ones down towards the bottom. These larger ones down here.
Oh, that's quite a...
Yeah, they're quite far away.
behind that one. So we'll run behind there.
Okay.
And that's it.
Fantastic. As we go to Durgus, who is AFK. Gang, let's play Durgus democratically. What does Durgus want to do?
I'd say charge in and throw an axe at it. That
Yeah,
would-
charge,
yeah.
throw axe.
He'd probably hunt his mark first, though, bonus action.
we would Hunter's Mark. first.
Bonus action to Hunter's Mark.
Nah, he'd
That
forget
sounds
it.
like a good. He'd say it after the fact. No, that's unfair. He's never said it after the fact before. Okay. So he kind of eyes it up and says some edgy line about it being his prey that's more suited perhaps for a Pokemon episode. Before drawing his returning axe. Charging forwards. 5, 10, 15, 20. Still putting it 50 feet above him and trying to hurl his axe up towards it. There is the returning hand axe. With disadvantage. He still rolls a 22.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
And
god.
so, with a kind of heave of the arm and a hoe as he releases, the axe goes pirouetting into the air, striking up into the belly of the beast. You can hear this kind of roar as it clearly impacts, though the axe drops down and Doug's actually has to flinch away in case the axe lands on him. Though it doesn't, as it just blinks back into his hand, but he's definitely made contact. And in fact, he deals extra damage because of the Hunter's Mark, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
It's a d6. So he deals an extra 2 points of damage.
How much damage did you do to him in total? To the Manticore?
8.
Okay.
And that would be everything on his turn. So we shall go to Natara.
So I'm gonna, throw a chill touch at it. I'm assuming it's within 120 feet range.
Easy peasy.
That's a crit. Oh,
that
it's
is
a
a
nat 20!
There's a nat 20. That is a nat 20. So ineffective before in other fights. This chill touch, however, right on the money. The hand is pulled back, the natural incantations given, and as you throw your hand forward, the skeletal bones peel off in this ethereal, ghostly hand as it twirls and pirouettes through the air, flying up towards the somewhat distant, but still quite large form of this beast hurtling around in the sky above you. It catches on to the leg of this creature, and it begins to howl even more loudly as you see this faint plume of dark necrotic smoke come off of where it's burning deep into the flesh. Suggesting to you also that the creature may not be recovering any hit points this turn if it had the ability to do so.
Oh.
Anything else, Miss Natara?
No, that's...
Okay. As we go to its turn. So it's not super happy. It didn't like that whole chill
Alex,
touch
sorry
thing.
to interrupt you real quick. We need to recover Dogus' hit points from before when he didn't take the long rest.
Very good
It's
point.
just-
I shall do that whilst I talk. So,
Nice.
the Manticore is circling above you, and it's going to continue to do so. It likes this kind of height above you. It wants to kind of maintain that if it can, and it's going to start spinning off that way. As it flies up this way, and throws a couple of spines down towards Durgus, because he hurt him, and then one off towards Natara. Go 2 to Durgus, 1 to Natara. Against Durgus we have a 7, definitely not. A 24, which definitely will. And Natara, a nat 1, it's never going to hit you. So, two of this tail...
hurt itself in its confusion.
No, unfortunately, that's not a mechanic, because I'm not a bad GM. The tail spikes, kind of the tail flings out again. You hear that whistling as the spines travel through the air, one of them thudding in front of Durgus, and he grins almost as if delighted about the terrible aim of this creature before the next one comes up and catches him in the shoulder, throwing his kind of body back slightly as he growls, pulls the spine out of mostly a fleshy section of his body, and throws it down onto the ground, but still definitely a solid hit with 7 piercing damage there. Natara, 1 you think vaguely was thrown towards you, but the aim was just so off it's not even worth commenting on. As we go to Barrand.
Right. This thing's still pretty high up, right?
50 feet above you.
Great. Let's use another javelin.
Oh,
He's gonna
we're going
throw
with
another one.
Okay.
Go!
Oh,
Oh,
with a 14?
14?
That will hit this time again. Again, not a hugely confident throw, but as you pull the arm back and push it forwards, there's a grunt, an explosion of energy as the javelin flies up towards this creature. The aim, slightly better this time, it actually manages to move up and pass through the one of the hind legs of this beast, causing it to roar and almost screech in agony out of its mouth. It will take the 9 piercing damage.
I think, that's it.
Okay. As we go round to Mr. Geronimo.
Geronimo pulls from his belt the curled up ball shape of Tank, kind of bringing his arm back and kind of throwing him out. He goes, "Tank, I choose you," and throws him onto the ground.
Why?
As an action, I'm going to use Tank and get Tank out there. Nice. Okay. Movement. I don't have to do a bonus action before I move, right? I can just move and then use a bonus action.
Yeah, there's no order to where you have to take your actions.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to do this. So, with Tank out there, this sort of mechanical, sort of gun thing now, kind of sort of stands there on four limbs, and Geronimo kind of like points up towards the manticore and goes, "Blast it, Tank!" And Tank in Force Blister mode. Sorry, I forgot to mention is going to fire as a bonus action towards the manticore with 120 feet.
Absolutely, well in range.
Let's do that.
All those dice.
I need.
Make your intelligence saving throw because that's the same as it attacking.
Yes, intelligence. I forgot about that. Always forget that. Saving throw done. Oh, those are not good rolls.
With an 8, I'm afraid not. There is a kind of loud concussive bang as Tank fires a shot off towards the manticore, but it's kind of wheeling and pirouetting and spinning in the air, and as it fires, it actually passes up beside the creature, definitely causing some energy, causing it to spin around and shift in the air, but really all of the kind of real damaging force just gone as the shot fires way too wide, disappears into the sky. Some luckless individual might be the victim of that falling bullet at some point.
Noticing this, Geronimo kind of looks towards Tank and goes, "Adjust measurements, Tank. I'm gonna be over here," and he's gonna like run 25 feet there.
Tank gives a little salute with one of his legs as you enforce him to adjust his measurements.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Brannon, back to you at the top of the round.
Okay, Brannon's gonna poke his head out so he can actually see what the hell's going on. And wait, how far away is it? Yeah, well within range. Throw off a firebolt.
Do it. With a 20,
20.
that firebolt is hitting. Not too much damage, just kind of bit of scorched flesh as the arrow of fire lances from your fingers, shoots up through the air and kind of catches one of the wings. So you definitely see a black kind of pock mark where your firebolt landed, but yeah, not a huge amount of damage with that shot, I'm afraid.
And then he's going to go hide behind the rock again because he's being a coward today.
Absolutely a good choice. Cowardice is the best form of survival. Durgus, however, is not a coward, and shall we assume that he continues to chase and throw?
Yes.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25. He moves up in line with you there, Baron. The boys back together as he throws his axe once more. Ironically, having better rolls with me than he does with Jensen. I'm not saying anything, just making the point. Though with 11 he'll miss this time. So this time the axe spins through the air, kind of head over heels, dropping just a little bit too low underneath the manticore, and they're blinking back into his hand as he yells some expletive in Dwarvish. Shall then go... Ooh, that's the wrong thing to open. We shall then go to Natara.
And Natara's going to do the same thing again.
Another chill touch?
Indeed. I don't know what's happening here. What?
Just clicking it multiple times. That's all good. 24 to hit. 24 will hit. So another cold necrotic visage will emerge, and this one will latch onto the creature again, almost seeming to replace itself on the beast from where it was just moments ago before it vanished, doing another 6 points of necrotic damage. The creature now appearing more erratic, more random in its movements, as if it's becoming more disoriented, as if it's becoming more angry and pained in the sky from this barrage of assaults. Anything else, Natara?
No.
I believe that brings us to the Manticore's turn. It does now. Sensing some weakness in the form of cowards.
Eat them.
It comes swooping down from the sky and actually lands next to Geronimo with this crash and this thud as this great lion's body propels itself and protects itself from the impact of it hitting the ground. It gives out this terrible roar and this growl as it will try and bite Geronimo and try and slash at him with its claws. Geronimo, that is a 9 to hit and a 10 to hit. So I believe neither.
14 is my AC.
Yeah,
Yes,
neither
no.
of those was going to hit. So as it kind of gnashes its teeth down towards you, you manage to push yourself back against the rock before it swipes out with the claws and you duck underneath. You see these great talons rip out some of the stone just above your head, but you yourself are unharmed. As we go to Baron.
Seeing this fool of a manticore drop to the floor, Baron is going to rush on forward, pulling out the great axe, and building himself up into a bit of a barbaric rage. And with that, we're going to give a reckless attack, Great Weapon Master with the big old great axe.
All the modifiers.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I made a terrible idea.
With a 16? Wait, that becomes a 6. No, it becomes an 11.
It's an 11.
An 11? That's gonna miss. Yeah, sorry, that took me a second there. I had to work out which modifier was which. Yeah. You give a big old swing with a great axe. The manticore is just turning too quickly, it's spinning too fast, its legs are flying out. Although you're attacking quite recklessly, you're not really sure how this thing moves exactly, and as you swing down with the axe, it just swipes through the air where it had been a moment before. And that's a big old miss.
Damn. We'll pretend that never happened.
Good choice. Well, we'll see. Geronimo.
Okay, with this beast having arrived on the ground now, Geronimo is going to use his action to disengage.
Okay.
And he is going to run 25 feet next to Natara.
Hides behind a bigger person.
Yeah. How do I... Oh, there it is.
Change between the tools. There you go.
Oop, moves there. And then shouts towards Tank. Yeah, just shoot it, Tank! And Tank is going to fire.
I mean, that
That's my bonus
intelligence
action.
saving throw.
Let's do it. Come on, baby.
Oh, it's
Nope.
nope, not with a 7. Again, Tank has readjusted, though readjusted for whilst it was still in the sky. And as he readjusts now for it being on the ground, almost in the opposite direction, he fires off a shot, and this one kind of hits the stonework just where you had been standing before. Tank is getting a little bit overwhelmed at having to spin and pivot and turn very, very quickly, but he's trying his best, damn it.
Poor Tank.
Yeah. As we go to Branham.
Brandon's going to move around the back of this rock here, if it will let me. There we go. And I didn't realise Baron was there. Okay, in that case, it's just he's going to. No, actually, I'm going to cast Enlarge Reduce on it to reduce it.
You would like to reduce it.
Yeah, so it's a Constitution saving throw.
And your DC is?
13. So not really high, but
It unfortunately rolled a 14. So as you move your hands about, mutter your spell, and throw your hands forward, this kind of arcane energy peels off, almost clouds up and surrounds the creature. The creature is just so caught up in its rage, its anger, its desire for something to eat. It almost doesn't seem to notice, and almost because it doesn't seem to notice, the magic can't quite latch on, and the creature remains the size it was.
dang it.
Anything else?
That yeah. Maybe just hide behind.
It's a good choice. Durgus. Durgus is going to come running, isn't he? Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to come running.
He's gonna scream while he does.
Yeah. Ugh.
I am
Screaming.
filthy bastards!
Yeah, something like that.
Just imagine him screaming his own name.
15, 20, 25. He can't actually get there in one turn. He's got
Gonna
some...
complain about his little stumpy
Yeah,
legs.
he's going to complain about his stumpy legs again. Why have I got stumpy legs? I'm a dwarf. Would he... Wait, no, he can throw his axe. I was about to say he can't do anything, and I was like, wait, he can just throw his axe. Which he would do so to roll a 9 and miss. The less said about that, the better. Natara.
Natara is going to do something different this time.
Hot damn.
Hot damn. She is going to cause blindness or deafness.
Ooh, which one you vibing?
I'm vibing blindness.
That's a hell of a choice.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's the saving throw, and what's your DC?
DC is... Well, what is my fucking DC? 13.
13, okay. And what's the saving
And it's
throw?
a constitution.
Oh, okay. Seeing some bad dice rolls. That is a 7, and so before able to focus on Baron, who clearly seemed to be kind of the main target right now, almost shrieking as loudly as the Manticore could. The Manticore, there's a pause, there's a break in the shrieking as the howls of anger and rage turn to confusion and fear. It begins to spin around on the spot, actually wildly swinging out with its legs, with its claws, with its tail, as it seems to almost be lost now in the space that it's standing. As it appears to have been rendered blind.
That's 10 rounds of it, yeah. 1 minute.
10 rounds. Is there a saving throw it can make? At the end of each of its turns. Okay. We go to the Manticore's turn. Now, it is blind, but it vaguely knows where Baron is, mostly because he's probably still shouting as loud as it is. And so it is going to try and strike at him with its claws and its bite. Now, it does so at disadvantage because it's blind. However, it has advantage because of your reckless attack, so that makes it standard. That is a 10 to hit with the bite, and a 22 to hit with the claws.
I can take it.
I really think you can, because it rolled minimum damage, so with your... That's 4 normal, and with your halving, that's 2. You take 2 points of slashing damage as it manages to catch you with its paw. Getting kind of afraid, though. It's going to pick itself up and try and get away. So as it rises 10 feet and moves to there, whoops.
Am I able to make a...
You can take, yeah, you can use your reaction to make an attack of opportunity.
Oh, 16.
A 16 will hit. And so as it tries to get away, that is 14 slashing damage. A terrible blow, almost into its hind legs, that caused the legs to actually buckle as it begins to rise up into the air, tearing this great gash down with the axe that almost rips from above the top of its thigh down to almost below its, to behind its knee.
We've got 16 with rage damage as well.
Oh, I forgot you get +2 for the rage damage. Yes, that brings it down even further. The creature is still hanging in there, though there is now visible blood leaking down from the sky, almost in this gentle patter, from this great open wound, as well as the myriad of smaller ones all over its body, as it continues to rise, and it moves itself over to there. Now in the air by 50 feet. And it's going to take its Constitution saving throw. That is not what I wanted to do. That is what I wanted to do. That is a 14 save, and so its vision comes back.
Well, that was a waste of spell.
You say that. Okay, we move on to Baron himself.
Right. Well, with the Great Axe still in hand, he's simply going to just drop it to the floor, reaching again for one of the javelins as the Manticore takes flight. And can I reckless with a javelin to make it normal if it's disadvantage, or is that not how it works?
Does reckless specify a melee weapon or a melee attack?
Let me have a look. Making your first attack on your turn.
Does it just say an attack?
It just says your first attack.
Then I would allow it for ranged weapons as well.
Nice. So he's going to biff another javelin towards it.
Got it. That would negate the disadvantage. So this is
Nice.
standard. Ooh.
23.
A 23 will definitely hit, and so the javelin hits this creature, dealing 7 points of damage because of your extra 2 for raging. This javelin kind of crashes into the rump of the creature, almost spitting it through the spot where you had hit it with the axe before. The creature is now almost falling from side to side, its wings beating as hard as they can, but it can barely keep itself in the air. As I assume we go on to Geronimo.
Right, Geronimo is going to appear behind himself and pick up one of these little small rocks. Looking towards the Manticore's wings, he is going to cast a catapult at it with the express extent of sending it through its wings. Or at least one of its wings.
Now, is that an attack from you or a saving throw? I can never remember catapult.
I'll just post it.
Yeah, post it.
I think if I just click it, it'll just do it.
Yeah, it'll just do it automatically.
Yeah, let's do that.
Dexterity saving
it's
throw.
DC 13, yeah. Dexterity.
Saves. It's a dexterity saving throw. What DC, sorry?
13.
17 will make it, I'm afraid. I don't think that's any half damage. I think it just means you miss.
On a failed save, the object strikes.
Yeah, no, nothing on a successful save. So yeah, the rock flies up at a super speed. You see just this flash of grey, but unfortunately it kind of passes just under the wing as there's a kind of beat of the wings. It doesn't quite drop down as low as you thought, and so the creature is still kind of pirouetting, spinning, raggedly moving through the air, having avoided the rock, though most likely from chance rather than any natural skill at this point. Still have a bonus action.
Yeah, bonus action. He's gonna noticing his thing has failed. He's gonna look towards Tank and go, "Yeah, then shoot it, Tank!" And Tank is gonna fire.
Make that intelligence saving throw.
Let's do it. Intelligence saving throw. Boyo. 15.
A 15 will do it.
I'll click this then. Oh, 2 damage.
2 force damage.
You'll have to see it.
This creature is barely on its feet, barely in the air, and as Tank fires this time, he gets the calculations just right. He picks out his spot. There's a bang as the projectile fires, but the creature suddenly jerks to one side as it almost seems to be in agony from having put some tension in part of its body that has been torn open. It causes it to turn, and as it does so, it almost turns with the impact of this forced ballista shot. Again, causing the creature to spin and almost tornado in the air, but the impact is lessened so much that it's still just about managing to stay airborne and alive, but...
Push back 5 feet as well.
Oh, it's pushed back 5 feet? Okay, there you go. Gets 5 feet further away from you.
Yeah.
As we go round to... Brannon. Brannon, can you bring us home?
Hopefully. He's going to run out. Wait, 5, 6. Yeah, he's good. And bugger it, throw out another firebolt, see if that does it. That'll do it.
Damn, son.
With a nat 20 to finish, what kind of flourish do you want to hear? How do you want to do this?
He's leaping out and just charging towards it and jumps forward, throwing it out, almost falling on his face as he does.
Okay. So there is this kind of embarrassing attempt to be professional, to be experienced, to be the ranger of the party, to be someone who knows what they're doing in a fight. And as you kind of, in your mind, kind of leap forward, gallop over a couple of hurdles, and throw out a blazing attack, what everyone else sees is as Baron kind of skips and hops and has to adjust his robes and almost lift them up like a dress, as eventually he kind of throws and splays one of his hands forward as this sputtering firebolt shoots out of his finger. As he does so, he miscalculates his last step, treads on the front hem of his robes and trips and falls flat onto his face, spread out, eagled on the ground. You might all be watching this, but that firebolt, kind of having come out at such an awkward angle, almost seems to be just the right place to predict where this creature will just randomly spasm into. And as it adjusts and turns, almost to see what this strange dancing blue man was doing, It spins, the firebolt hits it right in the side of the face, and there is a dying gurgle and a shriek as black smoke puffs out for a second as if the brains inside have been boiled. The wings flap once, twice more, and then it begins to just weakly slow as eventually the creature descends, and then drops the sort of final 10 feet and hits the ground with this plume of dust into the air. Spurts of blood kind of pooling out onto the ground, this black smoke rising up from the crater in which the firebolt has caused in its face. The creature, without a shadow of a doubt, entirely dead.
Brannon will push up on his arms, looking up and go, "Did I get it?"
Aye, you did. Almost sad to have killed it. It looked majestic.
Yeah, but it hurt. It hurt Bixie quite badly. Look at him.
Aye, but still, like, how often do you see one of these?
I mean, it's sad, but also looking at the carriage wreck behind us, I think we're not the first it took out.
True.
It's either that or us. That's the way I've been brought up. And would they kind of start approaching the body of the manticore, axe in hand?
What are you doing?
Hmm?
What are you doing?
Nothing yet, but does anyone know what this thing actually is?
Would I know?
Can give me a nature check.
I'm
Is that-
assuming like Baron's never seen a manticore.
No, they're not native to the mountains you grew up in.
16.
You've seen creatures drawn like this before, Brannon, and you'd know it's called a manticore, but that's about it.
Okay.
Natara, you've read a little more in depth about them. They are normally quite lonely hunters, naturally predators around more isolated and less visited areas. I'm also going to turn off the music. I thought I had. Big silly me.
I'm getting hyped for no reason.
Yeah, suddenly another one appears, having just said they're lonely hunters. No, very solitary creatures, normally living in these kind of out-of-the-way places, attacking rare travellers. They don't feed very often. They normally need something kind of relatively large, like a medium-sized humanoid, and that'll last them about a week or so.
Okay. She'd look at the other and say, it's called a manticore.
What's it called?
A manticore.
Now you said that sounds familiar.
I've read some about them. They're normally alone, like solitary creatures.
Are they usually worth much in materials?
I'd say so. I don't think they're that common. Like I've never seen one, like actually seen one before. I've just read about them.
Is it usual practice for them to hunt for people? Doesn't seem right.
Well, people, like any kind of humanoid creature really that's a bit large because they don't eat very often, from what I remember.
The carriage wreck. How recent does that actually look?
There's no kind of signs of really long-term decay. But at the same time, the blood's still not like fresh. So you'd say a couple of days, maybe 3.
They don't eat that much, but I mean, that was not that long ago.
Which is a bit unusual behavior. If what I read was correct, which I assume it is.
Do you know enough to be able to tell whether it's a male or female?
I mean, can you lift his legs?
From
Looks
your,
at Baron.
yeah, from your awareness, Brannon, that would be an effective means.
Sure. You just kind of walk over to the carcass of this manticore and lift one of its back legs up.
Doing so reveals the absence of any kind of thorny cat member.
Had to act
Okay.
for me. Wow. Wow.
In that case, maybe it's hunting for its young. Maybe it's got some nest around here.
Perhaps it could be. Aye.
Do you think we should tell someone about that? I feel like a selection of young. I don't know how big the child version of this is, but I don't think they'll be exactly not dangerous.
It depends how young they are. I mean, if they're just been born, they're just cubs, then I mean, we could get some nice pets. You could also sell them to an exotic animal trader and be barbaric about it, but I
Would Geronimo know if there's any manticore parts that are useful in engineering?
Engineering? Not really.
Not really.
No,
Okay.
no. There's not a huge organic trade in engineering. At least not that you would have worked in. It's one of those things that would have been frowned upon. You know, harvesting living organs and things like that for mechanics wasn't really a. Yeah, it wasn't a great. Well, even for you, that was a little bit too forward thinking.
Too forward-thinking. Okay. Geronimo kind of shrugs and looks in. I ain't got no use for this thing. If you think you can sell it, maybe adds to the gold pile that we need to help Bigsy get that fancy old ring that he wants.
you could certainly sell its hide and probably claws, teeth, all
What
that
I'm
kind of stuff.
thinking is
Wait,
if
does
we
it
bring
have-
back proof, there might be some kind of warrant out for it.
Perhaps.
Search through whoever in that carriage, see if we can find information on that. Also, Meta, does this thing actually have like a scorpion tail?
Yeah.
Shouldn't
It's got this
it?
kind of
Yeah.
long tail, at the end of which
Lion's
becomes more.
head and-
Yeah, it becomes more bulbous with these spines that are sticking out of it like a pincushion.
Possibly that tail might have some poison, which could sell for a penny or two.
Oh, I could, yeah. Or like even for medicinal purposes, it can use to be make an antidote.
Vial here that's empty, and he takes out one, offering it out if anyone wants to collect it. I'm not really the sort to be able to do that.
Maybe old Goggles here should do it. She seems to be the most in touch with nature.
Hands it to Natara.
All right, I'll give it a go.
Oh, I just realised. Why didn't we take Wadger with us?
I don't know why you didn't take Wadger with you, but we
I'm
shall
so
see. We've got no
I'm so
Wadger.
Wadger is not here. All right.
He's not.
Right, Natara's gonna
me-
walk over. Sorry, go on.
I was just say you're gonna walk over and try and get some
Yeah.
manticore poison. Give me a survival check.
20.
Okay. You're there for about 10 minutes. It takes some work with a dagger and a little bit of time as you kind of gently excavate the spines. But by the end, you're able to safely identify that this thing doesn't actually have any poison.
Oh.
Possibly the fact that your friends who were hit not getting poisoned could possibly have been an indicator. But all is not lost, however. It wasn't just wasted time, however. As Natara, you managed to collect 4 fully intact manticore spines. They are about the length of your forearm. Kind of, elbow to wrist in length. Fairly thick, almost like a javelin in thickness. Pretty strong, a little bit flexile. They're kind of an odd material you haven't come across before. Very lightweight. Interesting.
You said 4, yeah.
Yes, 4 of them. Anything else anybody is up to in the meantime?
Brannon will go over to the wreckage and, as best as he can, try and see if there's any luggage there or anything that might identify who was there.
Give me an investigation or perception.
$16.
Okay. It takes a little while of looking around, about as long as it takes for Natara to dig through the pin-cushion tail of the manticore. But eventually, you are able to find a small sack hidden amongst the lumber. You kind of have to move a few of the pieces out of the way, and you find a kind of alcove that has been created in the way the lumber has been stacked. Inside of which there is a small collection of jewelry and gemstones. Just a handful. It's a very small amount. The price of which, based on your experience, could be anywhere between perhaps 50 to 150 gold, depending on the quality and what someone's willing to pay. You're not a jeweler by trade. You couldn't say for certain. Additionally, amongst the gems, you find a letter, of which I will share with you. Right now, it says letter for Tobin. It should be in your journal.
Let's have a look. Player handouts. Oh, letter for Tobin, yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
I can't click on it. Oh, no, I can. Never mind, it's being slow. Can I read it? I'll read it out.
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah.
Tobin, apologies for the late delivery of this shipment, as well as its poor quality. Oduk and his damn dogs have taken control of all the river trade, so I've had to pass this off to a merchant taking the route through the mountains. Not only that, but the blood-crazed swine has been driving off all the marks in the area. I've always said that the dead merchants don't come back next year, but they don't seem to care. You've been good to me and my boys over the years, but if someone doesn't do something soon, we're off for pastures new. Yours, Grazik Bloodclaw. P.S. I realised that Grazik probably doesn't sound like a posh man.
Yeah. But Grazik Bloodclaw, the Middle English individual.
P.S. I probably should have read ahead of time. Now, P.S. I promised the merchant 5 gold if he delivered this safely. Take it out of my cut. If he doesn't deliver this safely and ends up reading this note, he should know that I'm going to find him one day and cut out his eyes. There we go.
We'll take the jewelry. Is it like in a small bag or something?
Yeah, it's in like a small kind of pouch.
He'll take that and deposit it in his bag. Don't worry, he'll tell you later. And take out the note and turn to the others and goes, I don't think we have to worry about the moral implications of this thing dying.
Yeah, why is that, Hatsy?
Seems like, well, maybe not the merchant so much, but he was I'm working, at least reading this, working for a set of thieves.
Oh, you think so? Okay, well then, what do we do with the merchandise?
Well, there's not much. There's this one bag full. At least that's all I can find.
Yeah, but does it have a destination we should be taking it to?
It's from a bunch of thieves. I think we can safely keep it for ourselves.
Okay, I ain't got no problem with that.
A pile of jewelry could go for anything from 50 to 150, but depends on who. Maybe we could get Durgas's ring with it.
Might
Yeah,
be
for sure.
something of worth to sell on.
Well, let's keep moving then. Ain't no time like the present.
Indeed.
Alright.
And
Before
we shall take the present. Have another quick break. Okay, so we'll take a quick break. We'll go grab our snacks, grab our drinks, grab our PPs once more, and we shall be back for our kind of third and final section as we continue on our way to Yarnskull. Okay, so we shall be right back. Hello and welcome back. We are returning into a second day of travel after a relatively comfortable, if slightly exciting, fight with a creature, with a manticore no less. Our party is continuing on, having discovered evidence of a smuggling operation, some kind of crime going on in the routes between Yarnskull and Farrick. The journey down from these low rocky peaks, far easier than the journey up, and eventually in the distance a small settlement would appear standing out quite proudly and quite obviously from amongst the myriad and patchwork of different fields and crops that are being grown across this mostly flat island. Check I've got my notes and everything. Okay. Emerging from these kind of wide golden fields, this rather petite village sits quite idyllically, with the crops all around it. A short stone wall rings the tall stacked houses, cling to the banks of this kind of long winding canal that attaches onto a very thin river that seems to run out westwards towards the coast. Getting closer, you see that there's a gaggle of guards sitting on kind of stools and boxes and benches in front of a set of wooden doors that have been firmly locked shut. They seem to be playing some kind of dice game, and as you get closer, one finally deigns to notice you. She kind of hauls herself up, adjusts her belt, which her stomach is spilling over, and then she spits on the floor. "Price is a gold to enter."
To pay to get into town?
Yeah.
That seems a little bit steep.
Well, we gotta pay for the guards, haven't we?
Seems a bit like a scam.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like, most people don't earn a gold in a good month or...
All right.
Exactly.
All right. It's 5 silvers.
It ain't
Oh,
nothing to
God.
enter the city.
Just 5 silvers to get through the doors.
Says who?
That was 2 different points there. Hang on. What did you say, Brannon?
Can I insight check?
Yes, of course you can.
Oh.
7? This is the Pact of the GM.
Yeah.
This is literally it. With an insight like that, she seems to kind of originally, she was kind of wandering forwards. There was a lot of kind of leers at one another. The guards clearly were all in on this idea of trying to get a gold piece out of you. But now that she's kind of backed off to 5 silver pieces, they all seem to be a little bit more dour, a little bit more serious. Like this is more business as usual. Natara, you were saying. Sorry.
Says who?
Well, I say so.
Can hear you.
One of the guards who controls the gates.
Dara
Look,
squints her eye.
5 silver, 1 moment, and Brannon will take out 5 and hand it over. Can we go in now?
There is a flash as her pudgy hand shoots out, snatches the gold as quickly as she can, and takes it into a pouch on her belt before she nods towards the gates, where you can see there is a kind of smaller door set into the larger one. Yeah, of course, Finchy will let you through. Go on, Finchy. He paid the dues. There's some chuckling between them. There is some chuckling between them.
It's 5 silver, I'm sure we can
Aye,
make it.
but it's not no law or anything. Like they're just taking the mick.
Enough, and when we go see around people, and if it turns out that it is them just scamming us, I'm sure we can talk.
Obviously, it's them scamming us. We didn't have to pay anything to go in through the port, did we?
People only pay so, well, accept so low. They could have just turned us away.
Well, while you're having this conversation, Finchy, one of the other guards, steps up, rattles a set of keys into a lock that's set into the smaller doorway. There's a clunk, and it takes kind of a few solid whacks with his fist, but he manages to knock the door open. on this squeaky hinge, which allows you to single file step into the village. The place itself is rather busy, despite its minimal size, though everyone who is around gives you this nasty case of the stink eye. Folk seem determined to get to their destination, and it's almost as if nobody wants to be caught by you. The one place that doesn't seem to be moving, the one place devoid of movement, is this rather dull-looking inn that seems to sit at the centre of this communal space that's immediately avails you as you step through, named the Navi's Lunch, and through the door of which you can see this kind of round serving bar standing pride of place in the centre of the building, around which there are a number of cramped and dark corners where people huddle quietly and chat. Meanwhile, around the rest of the village, people just seem to be wandering, perhaps home, perhaps their place of work. In the background, you can hear like this faint clanging as if someone is working some metal quite feverishly.
So, what's the plan? Do we go looking for the bald man, or do we ask around if they seen him?
Should probably head to. Wait, do you reckon they have some kind of government building that we could ask at, or do you think we should just go to the inn?
I think if we go to the inn, we could probably find out.
That works.
Okay, so you guys are going to the Navi's Lunch?
Yeah.
Okay. Wandering forwards, again, there is this almost bubble, this aura in which people don't want to step into. They clearly don't like the suggestion of being near strangers. Though as you step through the door, everyone turns to look at you. Even the quiet voices get even more quiet and subdued, as no one seems to trust you. Stepping up to the bar, a rather tall furbolg appears towards you. He's got cropped brown hair and this kind of soft, kind of almost brownish green skin with these deep velvet eyes. He gives a nod of his head, his rather large ears wagging as he does so. Hello there. Welcome to the Navi's Lunch.
Hello. We're just looking for some information, but probably some drinks first. What have you got?
Right now, we got a turnip snaps.
Wait, I'm sorry, turnip schnapps.
Yeah?
That's intriguing. Can I have one of them?
Yeah, of course. Do you want a one measure or two?
So the rest. Anyone else would like one?
I'll take one if you're offering.
Yeah, I'm down.
Make that 3 singles for now.
No, of course. Be right back. And with that, he turns and very slowly makes his way off to what looks like a very large kind of glass jug that runs down into a very narrow point and then comes off into a tap. He takes 3 small, slightly larger than shot glasses, pours out a small measure into each one and returns and places them on the side. That will be 6 silver.
Of course, I'll take out 6 silver.
Mighty kind. Takes them, pushes it behind, pushes it into a money kind of counter. Looks back to you as he begins to wipe down the counter in front of him. So, said you was looking for some answers or information.
Yes. Have you seen a man with absolutely no hair?
As you say this quite loudly, you get a couple of odd looks from everybody again, and the furbolg, for a moment, looks almost pained at you suggesting this. A man with no hair. You've had 1 or 2 with that description, if you know what I mean.
I don't, but I suppose that means you have.
But by the way, sorry to interrupt, can the rest of the party hear this?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah, I assumed you're all together.
Okay, excellent.
Perhaps more recently, bit larger, possibly saying he came far from the west.
I think such a man might be a little nearer than you think. And as he says that, he peers over his shoulder towards one of the back rooms.
Well, we've got some business with him. I don't suppose I'll keep it quiet until we can go talk to him.
Natara's gonna shuffle over to Geronimo and like lean down to whisper to him. Either he's found the right man straight away, or he thinks he's looking for a prostitute.
Yeah, I hope it's the latter. That'd be so funny. Maybe he
I
had
know,
tasted the
right?
wine.
I know, right?
While this whispering goes on, the bartender kind of raises a hand as if almost to placate Brannon. We're not looking for any trouble here, you understand. But this friend of yours, he may not be alone.
It's no trouble. We can always come back later if you prefer.
I mean, he may never be alone.
I'm going to turn and look at the others. Maybe
Natara smiles.
Geronimo's
Me
gonna
too.
step up to the bar. He's gonna clamber onto a stool to make himself at everyone else's height. He kind of looks towards everyone and goes, "Hey, could you give us a moment just to talk, please?" He looks towards the furball.
Now, the furball gives a nod, but he keeps his eyes warily on you as he kind of backs away and finds a different spot of the circular bar to start cleaning. He takes a spot in front of a female human who is just half slumped over the counter, barely able to keep her head up. She just has like this one very large draft of what you imagine might be the schnapps, that every now and again she just takes up and takes a big old gulp out of it and then places it down next to her head.
Geronimo's gonna look at the rest of us, rest of the party, and kind of lower his voice and goes,
So, see, I was thinking that it's not often that we got the essence of surprise, and we just came from that fight with the Manticore, and from what I remember of that tiefling gal, that wasn't a pretty fight either. So if he's got backup as we're being warned, maybe the best thing to do is, now that we know where he is, to rest up and then
Or
track him.
we could investigate to see if it's actually the guy we're looking for.
that was actually what I would suggest. I was thinking, and if it sounds like a ridiculous idea, please say, but maybe I should go in and offer to join.
Won't he recognize you? I don't.
Well,
Isn't there?
that's the point. I'm hoping that he'll know who I am. He'll know that you're not with me. He probably will know something of what happened to his ship. I'll tell him partial truths, say the ship's back at dock, but won't say you're here, and say that I want to join up. Maybe get some information.
But don't you
alright.
think that the best idea would be for Goggles to go in all rat-like and
I can do other animals than a rat, you know.
yeah, but that's the smallest I can think of.
Mouse, smaller.
Granted, going in as a small animal will probably lead to some information, but if I'm going in and asking, then I actually get to ask questions rather than hope he, alleviates any secrets.
I'm just thinking that we lose our spot of surprise, and I like to be like all have the advantage,
Again, it's just an idea. I'm not sure how to best handle this. I do like the idea of resting first, though, but I'm worried he will disappear in the night.
Well, that's the problem. He could leave while we're unaware. And, well, now we know he's here. I don't think it's going to take long for him to find out that there's a party looking for him.
Then, in that case, has anyone got any other ideas, or do we all surprise him, or do I offer to join? That's currently our two options.
Well, we don't know how many he's with, and as nice as the bartender seems, I'm not sure if he's going to be willing to give up that information.
Any other ideas, Natara?
Whilst you're having this conversation, just briefly, you are not necessarily interrupted, but there is a rising of voices as the bartender is trying to talk to the woman who is slumped over the desk. He seems to be muttering something encouraging or just kind of leaving or trying to do something to support her, and she swings out just blindly, very slowly with one of her arms, completely missing the furbolg, as she just says, "Leave me alone! Leave me alone! No! I can't bear it! I can't bear it! I saw their face! You know I did! I saw their face!" She's getting quite loud and agitated. A few people are looking over.
Yep. We've got a distraction. We should set something up now. So, any other options, or we start sorting things now?
I think Gago should go in incognito whilst they're distracted.
Well, I mean, I could, but what if they don't talk about anything? And
Natara, how about you sneak around back, turn yourself into something small? I'm going to go in as myself and talk or I could even disguise myself as someone random, but I feel like it would be better if I am me.
I do
Right.
have the anchor. We could all arrive. For all we know, who's to say we didn't make it here? Interested to find out.
Why don't just you go in? You've got the anchor, you've got a connection to their supposed god. It's more believable. We don't all need to go in there. Natara can go in for support as the small thing.
Yeah, that sounds
I
like a good
could.
idea to me.
Could
Right.
be a little grass mouse in your pocket.
Let's do this quickly because we're losing time as we speak.
Yeah, Geronimo nods, saying nothing more.
Yeah, and Baron kind of just, I suppose, holds out a empty palm, expecting a small mouse to sit in it.
Maybe people can't see up.
I mean, how are people kind of seeming in the bar? Are they paying much attention to them, or are they like...
They did at first, but now everyone seems to have kind of just gone back to their drinks, and yeah, then they don't really seem to be that bothered anymore.
Well, if you kind of box me in so they can't see, like, because you're taller than me and everything's like, just stand there, like, in front,
Okay.
and then I'll...
Brandon will stand in front and kind of move Durgus to block as well.
Yeah, and Baron will kind of form a bit of a human wall.
Yeah,
And then
it's like
Natara's
Natara's getting changed at the beach, and you've
Please.
forgotten to bring a towel.
And then Natara is going to cast Wild Shape.
Okay, and you are turning into
A little grass mouse.
a mouse.
Little
Sure.
mouse. Little shrew.
Make sure I have some. Well, I've got. I think only really rats have official stats, so we'll use the
Yeah, we can
we'll use the rat
rats.
stats, but we'll have
I'm
you
a
as a
shrew.
shrew. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Just out of interest, where that room that he kind of looked to was, would I know whether that leads to the? I mean, that would wall the outside. So, or would that just not be something I know?
Looks like a door that leads to somewhere.
As in, like the room that's in there. Would I? It doesn't matter. Carry on.
Does they? Are you asking if you could see through the door?
It doesn't matter. Carry on.
Yeah. No,
I
you
will
just
say before Baron's going to kind of approach, he's going to pull off Thelia's horn that he removed from her severed head and kind of tuck that into his belongings,
might be an
likely
idea.
with the
Yeah.
severed head.
nice.
And just, keep it
Did
out
you
of
pick
sight.
up Mouse Tara?
Yeah, I imagine there's like a little rat just sat in his pocket.
Mouse!
Yep. Yeah. Don't say rat. She'll get angry and squeak or something.
My bad.
Yeah. Okay. So, tucking those things away and making your way for the door, you push it open and it creaks fairly loudly, revealing a small, cramped-looking corridor that runs along the side of the building. The moment the door squeaks open, you hear from ahead that kind of thrum of hushed voices, though almost immediately they stop. And as you take your first kind of loud steps, you hear chairs scraping back as people seem to be standing up from behind another door. By the time you get to the second door, perhaps 10 feet down the hallway, you go to maybe knock or push on it, and the door opens suddenly in front of you. Standing behind the doorway, there appears to be this very broad, quite tall, rough-looking gnoll who fills out the space that he opens up. He gives you a look up and down, or snorting. Go away! Don't want you.
I'm here to see Argo.
No, I'll go here.
Well, I've heard otherwise.
Club members only. Takes a completely different tact.
So is Baron like not able to see in at all?
Not really. He's filling out pretty much all of the space. Quite clearly on purpose.
I need to show him something, and I think only he has answers for it.
There's a pause as the gnoll thinks for a second. Give me a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Ooh.
Oh,
Can I use my inspiration on this?
To get a reroll?
Yeah.
Okay.
fuck.
10. No, it's still a 3.
It's a 3. Yeah, it's a 3. Okay. The frown deepens on the gnoll's face as he shakes his head. No, I'll go.
Baron will call out, trying to kind of project his voice into the room, I suppose. Felia sent me here.
Okay. There is a moment where the gnoll kind of steps forward as if to push you back. And then from behind him, you hear that kind of nasal, arrogant voice. Stop. See what he has to say. There's a pause as the gnoll kind of looks over his shoulder, and as it does so, you can just peer in to see a very, very dark room. No candles or anything, only the light coming through from a small pane of glass set into what looks like a door, revealing a number of humanoid figures sat around a table. One in particular you reckon might be Argo, just given the size and shape of him, but the rest, kind of hooded and in the gloom, are just impossible to pick out. Then the gnoll's looking back at you, filling up that space again, as he folds his arms, as he does so, adjusting what looks to be like almost like a three-headed flail that sits quite comfortably on his hip. Go on then.
And Baron would... Is he like kind of being allowed to step in then?
No.
He's not.
No.
Okay. Okay. Baron would kind of shout over again. Do you know about an eye and the tentacles that surround it?
Again, another pause before the voice comes back. Keep talking.
An underwater ship.
Let him in. With that, the gnoll steps to one side and actually grabs you and pulls you to the room. Before quickly slamming the door shut behind you. Once inside, you're able to pick out a few more details. I mentioned your passive perception was like 15.
It's 12.
Oh, it's 12? Sorry. With a 12? Ooh. Give me a perception check.
8.
The room is filled with people. Argo, quite identifiable by his shape, size, and what you can now see are his quite noticeable style of dress. This kind of almost puke green with red floral embroidery and those kind of weird goggle glasses. Not good, but very much identifiable. The gnoll who pulled you in kind of leans back, this studded leather armor across his very thick frame, as he leans back against the door, acting almost as like a living barricade. Around the rest of the room sit a number of other humanoid figures, though their features are entirely impossible to see. They have these long, dark robes pulled up completely around them, covering face, hiding as much of their features as possible, and they seem to be sitting very, very still.
Okay. Well, I suppose Baron would probably just kind of step in with his attention on the headsman, likely letting him kind of have the first say before he says anything.
Where did you hear about this ship?
It was the ship we were taken on. It's not that I've heard it, I've seen it.
And where did it bring you?
Kind of pauses for a moment. A city filled with the dead. A beast watching over it.
I've seen a glimmer.
And what is that glimmer? What have I seen?
Enough to turn up here. You mentioned Felia. Where is she?
She passed away.
Give me a deception.
Oh no, charisma. Come on, come on. Oh, my
Would have been
God.
so good.
Okay. His eyes narrow quite visibly, scrunching up around the glasses as he begins to kind of suck at his teeth slightly. That is most concerning. How did she pass?
The others tried to escape. She left us with a ceramic pot that the dwarf fashioned some form of weapon from. And with that, and, well, distractions, they seemed to overpower the crew. I remained where I was. I didn't want to be involved. If they were defeated, then, well, I would have been next for the chopping block, I imagine. If I took part. And as I said, they overpowered the crew and dropped me off in Farrick.
Came an awfully long way to deposit you. Any
Well,
connection to the city?
They were looking for you.
So they're still here.
Not here, but in Farrick.
Concerning. A moment later, he gives kind of a slight nod of his head, and he slaps the table. As he does so, you to give me saving.
Oh my God.
No, sorry, it's a
Ooh.
wisdom saving throw. I take
That's
it
still
back.
no better. Let's see.
I believe.
God. 8.
8. A moment later, your mind explodes with the sound of whispers, voices, promises, the sound of singing, the sound of laughter, the sound of violence, the sound of all these kind of different voices and purposes all suddenly closing in around your mind, seeming to blot out all other senses as you are rendered stunned. Or what is in combat 1 round, but for this roleplay is kind of this immediate point. Natara, I also need a wisdom saving throw from you because you are also in the room.
Okay. I have an advantage in all wisdom saving throws.
Hell yeah.
Have your advantage.
Thank you.
Of course.
That's what I fucking needed it, not 20.
Not 20. Okay, so you feel this same sensation, but you manage to kind of throw off the impetus, the impact, the threat of it far more practiced ease, kind of defending these mental attacks, these techniques of making yourself more resilient to something you were trained in, and you're able to offset it and still retain some sense of your awareness, though obviously you are stuck in a pocket. Whilst stunned like this, Baron, I am going to need you to... I think when stunned you automatically fail strength ability things. Actually, I don't need you to roll...
Probably, yeah.
Dex and strength, yeah, so I don't actually need you to roll me anything. Instead, you are just going to kind of let out a gasp as a very heavy hand, kind of almost pair of hands, come round and basically chop at the back of your head, knocking you really hard and slamming you down onto the desk, at which point there is a very heavy force that drops down on top of you and pins you to the ground. Natara, are you going to do anything? You're basically thrown around like, you know, you're a rat on a ship that's in a storm.
She's gonna wait. She's aware. She's gonna wait. She doesn't want to do something just yet.
Okay, I'm going to need a Constitution saving throw then, because you're being crushed by the weight of this thing on top of you.
Oh, I thought you was just being thrown around. Not
No,
crushed.
this
Okay,
thing drops
okay,
on top
she's
of him.
gonna fucking skitter out of that pocket.
I'm still going to
probably
need that.
hide.
I'm still going to need that Constitution saving throw.
Shit.
With the rat stats, 1 hit point. You kind of sail around in the pocket as this happens, and then you feel as almost you're thrown forwards in the pocket of Baron. There's a moment as you kind of pull towards that exit, looking for freedom, and then the crushing begins as just this huge weight of force slams down on top of Baron. Baron, this is the same as you being kind of body pinned, but for Ratara, this is you being crushed by an inexorable force. It almost makes your eyes pop out, and as it does so, you feel this agony as almost your tiny rat bones begin to break. And at that point, the magics that kind of combine to put you into this form shatter. And just as you pull yourself out of the pocket, there is this kind of heavy thump as you regain your full normal size. Your head whacking onto the underside of the table. Immediately from above you, hear this voice go, "He carried another." Natara, let's hear some reactions. Baron, you need to give me another wisdom saving throw.
Natara groans a little bit. He goes, "Oh, it was just a precaution in case you were mean."
Oh my god.
Baron,
No,
those voices are still there, still blocking off
Oh,
everything.
you gotta be such a dum-dum.
He's such a dum-dum. And you...
Natara's still talking. She's gonna still talk. She's gonna say like, "Hey, I just came because of the ghost ship. We didn't want to go alone. I was there as well, and we figured this was safer."
As a response, you hear Argo say, "Tie him up and move that." And a moment later, there is this kind of loud kind of collapsing of wood, crashing of wood sound as the table is thrown to one side by one of the hooded figures. Natara, you've got a pretty high passive perception, haven't you?
Yeah, 15.
Okay. You notice that kind of you see the shape of those hands on the table as they lift it up and throw it away to reveal you to everyone in the room. Except one of those hands isn't a hand. That was most definitely something more akin to a tentacle.
Uh-oh.
that just heaves this thing to the side and throws it off of you. However, by the time these creatures in robes step away from you again, the robes have fallen down and their features and everything have become indecipherable, as Argo has taken a step back in safety, and his hand is currently resting inside of a pouch at his side, as if almost ready to pull something out in case of anything happening. Whilst behind you, Baron, you can feel as your arms and legs are being rapidly tied together, but you still are able to are unable to break through this mental miasma that is just clouding your very thoughts.
Can I cast a spell?
You can.
Can I cast Enlarge on Barrett?
You can.
Will that put me into combat?
I mean, we're kind of riffing on a combat as it is.
Yeah, she just, make the boy big.
Okay. Baron, you wouldn't technically count as an unwilling creature, would you?
No, I mean,
No.
he doesn't really have a choice.
No, okay. Baron, you suddenly start to grow. You get real big. You're like the size of a bear by the time these few seconds passed, filling out the space of the room, actually causing this knoll that's on your back to kind of look very confused and concerned, letting out almost this grunt of like, what the fuck? As you just get bigger and bigger and bigger. You are now one big confused boy. As the ropes technically were tied around you, which means they were objects you were wearing and have grown to fit your size. In response to the spell, I need to double check these things' abilities. They are CR that. No, they are CR not that. That? Yes, they are CR that. Okay. They are going to... Natara. I need a charisma saving throw.
Yay!
That's pretty damn good. You watch as one of these creatures throws back its hood, revealing that its face is, whatever it was, is no longer a face. Instead, this distorted myriad of almost leprous flesh has bulged out and begun to ripple and pulse in some kind of strange way, veins getting closer and closer to the surface, almost causing the skin to turn purple as the nose seems to have drooped down very far. The teeth have have turned into long fangs in certain places, others have fallen out. Everything seems to just be becoming totally distorted and shifted, well out of proportion as to what it should be. Meanwhile, one of the arms lifts up to reveal just this long tentacle, still human and flesh-coloured, and quite clearly a hand at the end that has been fused together, but most definitely solidifying into just a single long appendage rather than anything that has any resemblance to a true human arm. The fear that overtakes you comes in these almost impassive waves that strike at you again and again and again, but you manage to keep your feet as it raises its other arm, which looks more like a coral-encrusted lump, the hand seemingly having infused into a fist, which it then swings down towards you. Because you are prone, it has advantage.
Uh-oh.
Or not prone, but you are on the ground. And that is 16.
It's
Dealing 4 bludgeoning damage.
I was gonna like hold up her arm and just go, wait, we came on the sea serpent. We're not here to fight you, we're here to join you.
Okay. Baron, give me a wisdom saving throw.
That one incoming.
I'm waiting for it. Ooh,
Ooh, 11.
an 11? Let me check the DC on this bad boy. I don't think it's enough. It's not enough.
Excellent.
Yeah. Despite being big, it's still not enough. Also, Natara, you just took damage, and I believe Enlarge reduces concentration, so you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
The only thing that didn't enlarge was his brain.
Yeah, his brain didn't. A 16? No, he will stay enlarged.
Large boy.
He will remain enlarged. Meanwhile, the rest of you.
Did we hear any of this?
I was about
Yeah.
to say, Natara and Baron left maybe a minute and a half ago. There's a kind of a long silence, this awkward kind of nothing happens. Sounds all good. And then about 10 seconds later, you hear the crashing as the table is overturned and thrown to the side. You can just hear this furniture being chucked around.
It went bad. We need to get in there.
Yeah, let's go.
Geronimo's going to move in.
Compelling roleplay. Geronimo, you make your way down the corridor towards the door.
Wow, okay. Call me out my roleplay, fine.
I was calling you both out.
Hey,
Okay, so Geronimo's making his way down. Brannon, you following? You staying there? Finishing your schnapp?
yeah, I'm also going to drag Durgus with us.
Durgus follows behind politely. Something he's never done before in
What?
his life. I know.
That's very out of character for
Yeah,
Durgus.
shit.
Oh,
I'm
you
not
probably-
I'm not role playing you well enough.
Fucking people and getting into fucking trouble all the time.
Ugh, always having to come along and save other people.
And then he walks on his stumpy leg. Like
and
penguin
then,
walk.
and then he complains that he hasn't got a fast enough run. You make your way down the corridor, approaching this door, which is still shut. What are you going to do?
Locked?
I
I'm
mean,
testing it.
Okay, so you're just going to try the door? Okay, so try the door, push it open. Absolutely fine, it's not locked. And you push it open to reveal this scene of a very, very kind of bear-sized Baron lying on the ground, hands and leg and feet tied up behind him, whilst a Gnoll kind of kneels on his back, clearly uncertain how he's supposed to keep a much larger human down than he originally sat on. Natara is lying on the ground in the middle of the room next to this kind of collapsed table. Standing over her is this awful creature that I mentioned before, with this terrible encrusted fist held up as if ready to strike down upon Natara again, who already seems to have this great kind of bludgeoning injury across one of her arms, which she's using to protect herself as she begins to call out that they're looking to join Argo. Argo himself has his hand in his pocket, and as you guys enter, he looks up to see all of you, and then he just snarls, sensing that this has all gone horribly wrong, and this is not what he intended at all. And I don't have a battle board for this, but we're gonna have to go into.
Oh yeah, make your own battle board.
I'm not gonna make my own. We're not. Honestly, no, it's not gonna happen. My drawing skills in this is not quite what I thought it would be. So what I will do is I will throw all the things I need to on the battle board. We need an Argo. We need some prison initiates. And we need the Gnoll.
Damn, Argo looking kind of dumb though.
Argo do be looking kind of dumb.
Gonna be thick. Oh.
Look kind of stinky.
We'll move. We don't need to do a turn for tank, so I shall leave him out of this. One, work. There we go. As everyone needs to roll initiatives.
How many
Argo.
of them are there?
There is Argo, this Gnoll, and 3 of the hooded, robed individuals.
Oh,
8.
okay.
Our back alley tavern
9.
ambience goes down. Our combat music starting.
I've lost my initiative button. Where the heck is it?
If you go to the little closed fist, the combat tracker, you should be able to just hit the dice.
I need to do that for Durgus.
Oh yeah. Dumb
Right.
burgers.
Oh.
Oh, big
We've
rolls.
rolled well.
You guys have had some pretty good rolls, but it is unfortunately... No, it'll be Natara going first. The Gnoll, I shall adjust his... Natara, you go first. I just need to...
How many priests was there, sorry? 6.
3.
Oh,
3.
3.
Yes.
So it's 3 of those things, 1 Gnoll, and then 1... Whatchamacallit?
Big boy.
So Natara, you are first. You are currently lying on the ground, having
Where
just...
are they, like the room location and stuff like that? Since we're going out from this.
No, I haven't put you in the room location. I've just kind of dragged you all on there for there, but it vaguely... I had to draw something just for you guys. We have room like that, overturned table over there, doorway in is there, there's a door out there. Roughly speaking, got... This is the one thing I didn't want to do.
I'm sorry, but I kind of need it for this.
Sitting back there, you have to imagine Baron is bigger because he is. Fergus is there. It was Brandon who opened the door, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then you've got 3 of them, these dudes, kind of around the room.
Okay.
So yeah, what are you going to do, Natara?
Wow. Fucking gamer.
Yeah, we're gaming. I'm seeing some distances. Natara, what are we doing? We're lying on the floor right now.
She's gonna get up. Sorry, I pushed the talk on. She's gonna get up. And that's half my movement, right?
Half your movement to stand up, yes.
And then she's gonna move next to Geronimo. To safety.
Okay.
Wait, does that put attack of opportunity?
There'll be an attack of opportunity, yeah. I will add
She's
some
not
more.
gonna do that. She's gonna move over here instead, but she's up now.
Hang on. Let me add in the other initiatives. We'll keep that one there. Okay.
And then she's gonna cast Fairy Fire and not hit herself with it.
Whereabouts? If you click on this, if you click on the spell, you should be able to just put it down. Yeah, I can see. Okay.
Fuck yeah, get
So-
fucked.
The hands raise, the incantation is made, and as you gesture forward, this kind of pink arcane light flies out into the room and begins to spread out in front of you, beginning to encompass the 3 hooded, robed individuals and Argo, who all need to make dexterity saving throws, I believe. I'm going to need the Knowles sheet. Argo's. Oh, I forgot how good Argo was.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
A dexterity saving throw for Argo. What's you're DC 13, aren't you?
Yeah, I think.
We make sure we don't kill this guy.
don't wanna
Unlike
kill him.
Felia.
100%. You need to kill him. Never
No.
take anyone for questioning. It's a waste of time.
No precedent.
Argo will roll a 7 and become encased in this pink light. We'll just put, I don't know, this kind of glowing man on him to mark that. The initiates will all pass, and the Knoll's not in there, so we don't have to worry about him, actually.
Well, I got the important one.
So Argo is marked. Anything else?
No, but as a free action, she's gonna turn to look at those who came in the door and be like, "Help! Baron has become stupid."
He's become stupid.
Yes.
He wasn't before, but he is now.
Yes.
We'll make Baron big.
Damn.
You would be dummy thick like that, though. I do want the
You
Knoll
got them
above.
eyes.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the Knoll there, though he is over you, Baron. Okay, so you make your call. We go to the combat tracker, and it's in fact the Knoll's turn. Seeing you, it would stand up, which would be half its movement. It could then go 5-10 to go stand next to Geronimo and Brannon as it rushes over, drawing its terrible flail. And it is going to use its multi-attack.
Oh, this is not good.
It's going to bite towards you, Geronimo, and slash towards you, Brannon, with the flail. But those are some piss poor rolls. That is an 8 to hit Geronimo and a 10 and a 6 to hit Brannon.
No peas.
Yep, so nothing there. As it bites towards you, Geronimo, the flail swinging out once, twice towards Brannon, but all of those attacks manage to miss as you kind of all dodge out of the way, avoiding those strikes as we go on to Durgis's turn, who is complaining that he can't see. He can go there, however, and throw his axe towards the knoll, which is what he's going to do, because Durgis in my hands is not very creative.
While shouting, "I cannot see! I cannot see!"
14 to hit. He will hit and deal 9 slashing damage.
Oh,
Taking-
bonus action, Hunter's Mark.
Yeah, sure, why not? I see Hunter's marks it as well. Dealing the extra damage. Perfect. Okay, we're going to just move over to Durgis's turns very quickly because I've got lots of people to narrate. Brannon.
Brannon's going to Misty Step over to the other side of Baron.
Okay.
There we go. And he's going to throw out a Scorching Ray at, well, 3. All, let's say all 3 at this one here.
Okay. 10, that won't hit.
Okay. Sorry, one sec. I should have it set to cast 3 times each time.
A 7 will not hit.
Fuck.
A 23,
There we go.
A 23
Okay,
will.
though.
So the first 2 streams of fire kind of shooting out of your hand as these great beams. The first scorches up against the wall, the second takes down along the floor, but the third manages to kind of cut upwards through the hooded figure, who shrieks and howls in agony as they recoil, their flesh being burned and blistering under the heat of the ray. Anything else?
That's the end.
As we go to their turns, I will require of... Tara's already passed. Brannon, Geronimo, and Durgus technically to make charisma saving throws.
Is this
It is not magical, no.
No, not magical.
No. Durgus rolls like a god. As does Brannon.
Charisma saving throw.
Yes, please.
Come on, baby.
Geronimo less
Geronimo
so.
just like ain't a god.
Geronimo less so. And Baron, because you're stunned, you don't need to do this. Durgus and Brannon managed to keep their kind of confidence, their belief as these hooded figures begin to reveal themselves in their terrible mutated forms. Geronimo, you on the other hand, though, find the look of them just deeply disturbing. Honestly horrific, and it makes it so difficult to concentrate on anything else. You are going to be frightened for the next 3 rounds.
God damn it.
That means I can't attack them, can I?
You can attack them. You get disadvantage to basically do anything whilst they're in sight, and you can't willingly move towards them.
Okay.
And we're going to put a nice scary face on you to show you're frightened. And then for their actual doing things, it's going to move there. It's going to move there. We're going to have 2 attacking towards you, Natara. 1, 2. A 22 to hit and an 8 to
Yeah,
hit.
that hits.
22
Not
to hit.
yet.
Yeah, the 22 will hit you for 7 points of damage. Additionally, that one, because it has an ally within 5 feet of you, is going to activate its sneak attack damage.
Fuck.
Rip.
And deal an additional 9 points of damage,
She's down.
which will knock you down.
Holy shit.
Natara, I require a 2d6 roll, please. Whilst the last one strikes towards you, Geronimo.
Oh.
Well, I'll check that in a second. Geronimo rolls a nat 1. So as it goes to strike towards you, you are just so frightened that it actually saves you. As you jump away from the thing in total fright, it swings out and strikes the ground where you've been standing a moment before. Meanwhile, Natara, for your 4, you are now concussed. You can no longer concentrate on spells, and in fact, because of that, and because you're unconscious anyway,
Oh no.
Baron is going down to a normal size.
Smooth boy.
He is small again. Geronimo, it's now your turn. These dudes are pretty frightening, and this gnoll just tried to stab you. Or bite you,
Right.
actually.
As an action, Geronimo's going to get tank out. And as he gets tank out, he goes, "Add a protector mode, tank." And tank's going to
Protector
come out
mode?
in protector mode, yeah.
Where's Tank gonna go? Put him in his square.
Go there. Oh, I can't move him.
There you go.
He'll go there. So
Okay.
allies within 10 feet get... Double check.
That is, yep, that's you, Baron, and Durgus.
Well, okay, I'll just roll this anyway, just so...
Yeah, it's automatic, there's no saving throw.
everyone gets 4
temporary hit points.
Temporary hit points. Yeah.
So as Tank is deployed, he comes out this time, and rather than having his gun kind of poking out the front, instead it's kind of poking upwards, almost like it's shooting into the sky, and then this pulse of white light bursts out, and Baron, Geronimo, Durgus, you will feel invigorated by this. Durgus, I'll put yours in. You have 4 temporary hit points. Anything else, Mr. Geronimo?
Geronimo's going to move there. Like, he's staying in with the knoll, but he's going to move.
That's an attack of opportunity from the initiate.
Fuck yeah, I totally forgot about that.
It will strike towards you and roll a 19 to hit.
Yeah, that hits. Fuck.
So it will deal 6 bludgeoning damage, and because you're within 5 feet of the knoll, it will also deal its sneak attack damage, because it hasn't done it this turn.
Oh, I made a bad choice.
And deal an additional 9 points of damage.
Oh, I made a very bad choice.
Perhaps. Baron, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Let's go. Come on.
Oh,
Okay. That's an 8.
not with an 8. No, you're still stunned. On the ground, tied up.
Epic.
This plan is going really well, guys.
Yeah.
And now it's Argo's turn. I have to remind myself what Argo can actually do. He has
Like
all those
long
things.
shot move or something.
Oh yeah, dude, he's got an ulti that just kills everyone instantly. Got him.
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. That does mean something. And he has... Oh, I forgot he's got all of these. Okay. Staring around, he kind of peers between all of you before throwing his hand out towards Brannon. As he does so, he mutters this strange, kind of archaic, almost clicking language. And from his palm, there is this burst of almost, I want to say dark light. It's an odd juxtaposition of words, but it's the only way to describe this almost screaming bolt of energy that shoots off towards you, Brannon. Brannon does a 14 hit.
No.
I've got that as your AC.
Yes, so it doesn't defend a win on a match.
No. AC
Wait,
is what you need to reach. Same way that DC is what you need to reach.
Okay, then yeah, it does.
In which case you are hit by this guiding bolt for 15 points of damage.
He's down.
And, I mean, there would be advantage to hit you again, but... Yeah. So yeah, Brandon, you take the impact of this single bolt. It crashes into your stomach, this energy exploding, blinding you, and then blackness, as I need a 2d6 roll from you too, please.
This is going well, guys.
You
Should have listened to Geronimo's plan.
There was a lot of... there was advice. There was advice given. A 9? That's different to what Natara has. For a 9. A damaged eardrum. You are deafened.
Doesn't matter. He's down anyways. He's unconscious.
Right now it doesn't matter. It may matter later. As we go to the top of the round, Natara, I need a death saving throw.
And where even are they? Oh, there they are. Normal, right?
Yes. That's a success.
14.
And we move on to the next, which is the Knoll, who is going to step forwards into the space that Geronimo made to slash at Durgus and try and bite Geronimo. Durgus gets a slashy slash, Geronimo gets a bitey bite, and against Durgus we have an 18 and a 20. So he'll take the 18 and 20, and Geronimo against you, it's a 10, so I don't think that gets you.
Nope.
So Durgus becomes slashed with the terrible kind of reaping claws of this three-headed flail as it rips across his armor, though Geronimo, you once again get to kind of back away, move off from the threat of these gnashing teeth as they come down towards you. Durgus' turn, and I assume he's just going to hackety-hack. Oh no, wait, he can draw his second axe and then have an offhand.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Durgis's sheet? There it is. So he strikes once towards the knoll and strikes twice with his offhand. And that is a 25 to hit, which definitely does for max damage. And with his Hunter's Mark, in one big cleaving blow, will hack into the side of the knoll, knocking it down and killing it. It's big dead. As he advances into the room and throws his offhand towards, shall we say, the nearest cultist. Okay, sweeping forwards with the offhand axe, he will roll a 17. Not quite as impressive, though, with 2 points of damage. As he just kind of manages to catch the retreating arm of the creature that had just recently struck at Geronimo. Combat tracker. We'll get to the end of this round, and then I think we'll call it for tonight. Brannon, a death saving throw, please.
Okie dokie. Sorry. There they are. Ooh, that's a fail.
That is a fail, but that's still only one fail. But yeah, that's a fail there. As we move on to the cultists, one of which is going to go 5, 10 up to there. The other's going to go 5, 10, 15. Technically can't occupy the same spot as tank. 1 moment, sorry. Never mind, I don't need to sneeze. They're probably going to try and get tank.
No, tank. Oh, no.
Yeah.
What's his AC again?
Like 18.
Yeah, 18, yeah.
Something crazy.
Let me have a look. Companions. Where are you, tank?
Tank's insane.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah. They're going to make an attack each towards him. Oh, tell me that's not a nat 20. It's not. That's a 10 and a 17. Tank will take them like a champ. Though Durgus is going to get one towards him. Ooh. With a 23 to hit, Durgus will take those 5 points of damage, and the sneak attack needs to come in too. There's an ally in 5 feet, which deals 11 points of damage. Durgus is not looking healthy.
It's actually a TPK, holy shit.
An accidental one as well, Jesus.
It's not accidental. You guys
You
made the
walked
choice.
in. Yeah, you walked in.
Not the fight!
Okay. Geronimo.
Is it Geronimo's turn?
It is your turn, yeah.
Alright. Geronimo, first of all, just bonus action, tank is going to pulsate.
Okay, that will give you all another set of...
And then I need to re-roll, I think.
Yeah, you roll again, and then if you still have the hit points, you can choose to keep the old or the new, and obviously if you've lost them, then...
7.
Yeah, so you can go up to 7, but you don't add the 4 and the 7.
Yeah.
So Durgus is also going to get 7 as well.
Yeah. Geronimo, noticing the situation, is going to pipe up and go, hey, can we come to an arrangement? We're an establishment. We'll leave you to it. I'm sorry. Just let us go.
Ooh. Begging for your life.
Groveling.
Groveling. A tactic I never expected from D&D players.
Actually, not the gnome.
No. Okay. How will you respond to that?
Binge.
He'd monologue.
Cringe.
He'd monologue telling you all of his dirty secrets. No, he calls something out in this strange clicking language again, and you notice as all of the heads of the robed figures turn to listen to what he has to say. And then with almost mechanical precision, they turn back to you. That's the response. I'll let you still have your action if you want. So what are you going to do?
So there seems to be no response.
He's responded to the figures who are robed, the kind of tentacled creatures you're terrified of, but he hasn't responded to you, or at least not in a way that's audible to you.
All right, Geronimo is going to use his action to disengage and go out of the door, and back away.
Okay. Baron, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Is this the saving grace?
Is this the one?
Hold us to it.
Is this the one?
Oh my!
It's one in
I-
here.
Oh my
Oh my god!
That's a 5,
Face
so that's not
palming
going to
so hard,
pass.
Oh my god, this is so bad.
yeah. How can we go from
God.
such good rolls and nat 20s to this?
Remember, guys, CCing using saving throws is always how to beat high AC parties.
He's not even got a high AC either.
For level 3, you're not bad.
It's just our damaging monkey.
Baron, you are still stunned. As Argo is going to step forwards to Natara. And Natara, as he reaches down, though you are unaware of it, you find your wounds begin to knit and knot together as you are stabilized.
Oh,
But you are still unconscious and concussed. Let's put you there and take off the dead marker. And
Okay.
as we head to the top of the round and looking at the
Right.
time,
He just healed me?
you don't know what he did. You're unconscious, but you are stabilized. You're no longer making death saving
okay.
throws,
Oh,
though you are still unconscious. But that, I think, is where we're going to call tonight's session, as we only have a few more minutes. Do we want to do one more round?
Yes.
one
I
more.
mean,
Please.
Oh, this is a good cliffhanger. Leave it.
You want to
Yeah.
leave it at that?
yeah, cliffhanger.
Okay. We'll leave it with this as a cliffhanger. This will
I
be our
can't handle what's to come.
That's fine. We will leave it with this cliffhanger as Argo steps forward to stabilize Natara, having said unknown words to his accomplices. The party stand on the precipice of death for some of them, in the face of their mortal enemy from Storia, and that is where we'll call the session for tonight.
You ready to become evil, Gavin?
The
Guess
play-
is once again going to be a vampire.
This is scarily familiar.
Yeah. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is there was a suggestion in my suggestion in my DMs about running an evil campaign, and I was like, listen, I could wait for that to happen organically, or I could force that in with a staged fight.
We've been evil. Ah.
A classic Alex move.
This is a scripted fight.
Yeah, I changed the script beforehand. No, that was a lot of fun. We shall return ourselves to that. Apologies for not having a battle board, but sometimes theatre of the mind is a little bit more fun and just a little bit quicker, especially when it's a fight you didn't expect. We shall
Classic move from us.
Yeah, we shall take our combat music off, as we don't really need it anymore. For those of you still with us, and that's a fair amount of you, thank you for sticking with us all the way through. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. I know I definitely enjoyed GMing it. And as always, stick around for next week to find out what happens to these people. ? We're not sure they will be by the end of the next session, but we shall see. And we are going to... Oh, sorry, Kath?
If you missed some of this bits of the episode and want to watch all of it, it'll go up on YouTube on Monday.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, it will go up on YouTube on Monday. That's kind of when we kind of
Oh
Is
upload.
that
my
Are you
god!
fucking kidding me?
Jensen comes back right at the
Jensen!
end.
Has Jensen returned just for this?
Wow.
He's muted.
He's muted, but he's here.
He's muted. He's here in our heart. Yeah, so we do upload to YouTube. You can find that. The links to that's all below us right now. Obviously, the video will stay here on Twitch if you want to look back as well. And yeah, we get pretty good viewership on Twitch. That's quite fun. But we will be going and raiding another channel, as we do after each of our sessions, because it's fun to pass along the love. So I encourage players, viewers, anybody at all, if you find what looks to be a nice D&D Twitch channel, shout it out. We might pick that one. I'll see how I feel. I am omnipowerful, omnipotent, and fickle.
That's what omnipotent means then.
What omnipotent
Yeah.
means? That means oh yeah, I mean,
All powerful.
yeah, it means it still means whatever. Listen, dude, it's like 11 o'clock.
Let's have a look.
What have we got? Right, where are we? Are we gonna go?
Oh, look at this. Italian Misfits again.
What? Where? Oh yeah, the Italian Misfits with their drawings again.
Yeah. Let's do something else, though.
Yeah. No, not a rerun. Ghost of Saltmarsh Session 2. City
What about-
Hunting.
Pact to the GM.
Oh, dude, Pact to the GM. That looks like a great channel.
There's a lot of Italian actually.
Yeah, dude.
What about?
Waterdeep Dragon Heist? Tomb of a Brucellation?
Where's that? Oh yeah.
Draken 87, Tomb of a Brucellation. Live Deep, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, Untold
What about
Chronicles.
city hunting? What about city hunting?
Oh, City Hunting?
Yeah, city hunting
From
by
Shpike? Shpike?
Yeah.
Yeah, we vibe. We vibe in Shpike.
Yep, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's check this out. Let's do that. So we want to /raid. They are capital. Just got to check I spelled that right. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're getting ready to go. Okay, so hop on in. Please say something nice. You know, be good to them. This is a community of lovely people in D&D, and we want to be a part of that. So we'll see if we can go make their day. And if they're like the other people that we've possibly raided before, where there's absolutely no response, I totally respect streamers who do that. We're trying not to respond to anything that happens, but also how dare they? We're so important. Thank you, everyone. We will see you all next week, and we hope you have a fantastic time. Bye for now.
Ta-ta.